think we're going to see some big things from Evander Kane this year.
You think so? Like if he stays healthy, like 40 goals or something?
He's used to Edmonton now. He's solidified, I think, his place in the dressing room. I think there's a comfort factor that takes a little bit of time.
Two guys and a goalie with Gager, Cassian, and Nielsen. Tuesday and Thursdays at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Oil Stream.
Last summer on the Oil Stream, you and I discussed the possibility of Gagne coming back here on a PTO. He signed with Winnipeg and got an actual contract.
Anytime you can have Sam Gagne involved in your organization in any way, it's a major positive for you.
They love him.
The Oil Stream with Nielsen and Gazzola. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey. Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch. Sundays at 8:30. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
It is Wednesday, September 13th. Welcome to the EST Hangout. Matawanek, Tom Gazzola with you as always, and we're pleased to welcome Wil Fraser and Jay Milne to the clubhouse. We call it the clubhouse.
It's the clubhouse
This
now?
is supposed to be the clubhouse, like the EST
It
clubhouse.
looks great.
The
Tiger
EST
Woods
Hangout
staring at
clubhouse.
us.
Gentlemen, welcome, and thanks for joining us.
This feels more like the hallway outside of the principal's office is what this feels like. Yeah.
You're
like,
just waiting to be called.
We're all, exactly.
We're all having the chat. What did you do wrong? What did you do?
Get in here.
Well, I'll just say, I mean, to be here, thank you for having me.
Already better than me.
No, hang on.
He's about to get to the best part.
I'm really going to pump your tires here.
Uh-oh.
I mean, this is the OG from the Team
right.
1260.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So to be sitting in the same room here with Will, I mean, to have you back here in the same halls,
Wow.
This is something.
How does that make you feel? Head just growing even bigger.
Not dead.
That hair is
makes
great
me feel
today.
not dead.
You know, 30 years ago when I was listening to you on Team 1260,
Pretty much.
you were great.
I had a moment there. It was about 5 hours, and I enjoyed it. And I'll live off of that for the rest of my life.
Well, you're a legend.
Yeah.
Living legend, really.
Yeah.
You brought your own coffee today.
Well, Matthew, I'm not gonna.
Oh, call me out.
There was an
Listen,
incident already.
You
Yeah,
are
there was an incident.
proudly half Italian and half Ukrainian.
Damn right.
And you have a functional coffee maker that you brought in, I'm assuming.
Yep. Folks gave it to me.
Yeah,
Folks
a
gave it to me.
functional coffee maker. And the cheapest coffee grounds.
I could have got cheaper.
Yeah,
I could have went cheaper.
You could have gone yellow tin.
I could have went.
You didn't go full yellow tin.
There was one that I know that we used to do at the radio
Yeah,
station.
you
that
went
I won't
full
go there.
blue tin. So no, I
was the
live off of
cheapest.
coffee in the morning, and so I knew I would have to bring in my own.
It's the cheapest.
I
went
noticed
to the store and I went for the cheapest option.
Yeah.
It was $9.99. I went perfect.
Yeah.
And that one actually, Tom Petty says that's the best cup of coffee.
Tom Petty?
Yep. There's a whole written article in Rolling Stones. This guy who wrote his biography. I guess Tom Petty's was big into his coffee.
Yeah.
And the best cup of coffee ever found was making it with that coffee.
The king of
Maxwell
Swamp
House.
Rock?
Yeah.
Thinks that's the best coffee?
Wow.
Well, that tracks.
Don't diss Tom Petty.
tracks.
That tracks.
I happened to notice I was in the back corner prepping, and I noticed Will was putting his own grounds into the machine, and I was like, I thought Maddie made a coffee already.
Well, we did finish it
You
off
did?
too.
Oh, you finished the pot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we didn't even make any extra for
then-
the guests coming in.
Jay had.
Sorry.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like I think we need to be more accommodating and welcoming, and I think we've done a good job. Like with the, hey, do you need a water? Hey, do you need a?
Yeah,
beverage?
Tom did ask if
I did.
He asked both of us if we
Well,
wanted
Tom's
water.
very kind that way. Tom's been doing a great job of that. We have
He
not.
fixed the toilet.
Yeah,
I did.
fixed the toilet.
I did fix it. You're welcome. The rest of the building.
Big
But the
accomplishment.
first hangout last week, Dave Jameson and John Saxsmith were in, and we had nothing for them. And Saxsmith was like, "Can I get a coffee?" And Eric had to go buy one because we had nothing for them. We
I
were
saw
terrible
that.
hosts
I saw
that day.
midstream a couple coffees coming.
Yeah, we were
that
not
did
good
happen.
hosts that day.
There's not a lot
So-
of like fully formed adults around here.
Well, I was thinking about like Dustin's kind of the boss, right?
Oh, he is. No, not kind of. He is the boss.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that not funny to you?
I'm glad you see the
I
humor
can't
in it.
say anything.
To me,
it's so funny.
it's
it might
bone-chilling
just
terror,
work.
but
It's so funny. You know when things are so bad,
Yeah.
they're good.
Yeah.
That's what I feel is with Dustin running the ship here. He's steering this ship.
We have a 2-year lease in this place. Either this is going to go so well, or we're just going to be laughing because we screwed this up completely in 2 years.
Well, at least
And
if you
it's-
guys have to do a midnight move, they won't
Yeah.
know who you were.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to report something. I had a little bit of a medical emergency
Are
this
you all
morning.
right?
Well, thankfully, yes.
good.
I've been cleared by doctors. I had beets last night for supper.
Oh, yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
have to use the?
No, I
fixed
didn't.
toilet?
I just it's one of those things, you know,
Yeah.
where that's a real scare.
Yeah,
in the
no,
morning when
I had-
and then you forget and you're like, "Well,
I had something very similar. I had a full probably 18 hours of thinking that it was over.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got to call the doctor, see
Yeah,
the doctor.
yeah. I
and
went on a family vacation, spent the couple of days leading up to it out at my mother-in-law's place, and she like has her own garden, and she fed me probably 8 pounds of beets. And I was hiking down in Waterton National Park, and I literally
Humble
like
brag.
was spending the first half of it thinking about how I was going to break it to my wife and children. Wow. That
This was it.
this was it, because that's a lot of blood that you turn around and see.
Well, you did say you had an announcement on
Yeah,
today's show,
and so,
I-
but yeah, halfway through the
good?
hike, I realized what had happened, and then started laughing to myself like a psychopath, which is also not comforting for my wife and children when
No,
they're
when you're in the
by
hike.
themselves in the middle of the forest,
Yeah.
and their father starts laughing like a psychopath behind them. It was discomforting for everyone involved, but yeah, luckily enough, it cleared up.
Hey,
So-
Blueberries.
goes away.
Once, not too long ago, had a bunch of blueberries the day before, and same type of thing. Like
Yeah.
looked and went, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that's
and then
a
you
lot.
start googling
Yeah,
like
Googling.
what does this mean? Like what do I have? And then you yeah, no, I had blueberries, a bunch of them.
Just hope for the best. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
You know what?
for the
We're all
best.
going to die eventually. I mean,
Yeah.
if it
That's
goes
how
by way
Tommy
of beets.
Gonzalez lived his whole life. Just hope for
Why
the
do you
best.
think I don't have any grace? I don't know. We'll see. If I get up
Are
tomorrow,
you
it's
scared
all
of
good.
grays?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm not scared of grays. I think grays are gonna look good, but I'm scared of going bald. But you're
Yeah,
scared
I'm
of
scared
grays?
both. Have you seen my dad?
Maddie, if you were gonna go bald, you would have started to see the signs of it
Yeah, I
by
know.
now.
Like I feel like I'm good, but it's still like there's the worry. But gray looks good on you.
Yeah.
But I've had gray hair since I was like 12. Like I literally probably found my first gray hair in junior high. So
But you don't think you'd look good with gray?
I don't know. I don't.
Tommy,
wanna
you'd
think
look
about-
good
I'll
with
worry about that
anything.
later. I'll
You
worry
look
about that
good with
later.
anything.
Oh, thank you. Will.
Would you just for
Except for
when you
maybe a
notice it
goatee.
for a little bit, or would you
Maybe.
just let it
Yeah,
go? Oh,
goatee.
really?
Yeah, I'd probably just ferment it, I think.
Oh, that's.
I haven't thought about this, Matthew.
It's the
Well,
thing.
that's what
It's
we're
the
gonna
thing.
try to
It's
figure
the
this
thing.
out
Like
now.
that look Will's rocking is people will pay for that,
It's distinguished.
and not just
Yeah.
men, women too. Women are going gray now as well on purpose.
It might get
Oh,
you
yeah.
fired from a job.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you don't talk about our old business daddy like that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Anyone that doesn't know the Lisa LaFlamme story.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
Lisa, if they got rid of me, how
Yeah.
did you ever stand a chance?
Touche.
Like,
Touche.
the writing was on the wall, Lisa.
That's true.
Yeah.
It wasn't the gray hairs. It was the
Oh,
fact
boy.
that we got rid of Will,
Yeah.
and it was just
No
fair
one's
game.
safe. Yeah.
Well, we got rid of DMAC too after.
Yeah, that's right.
DMAC and Lisa. You
right.
paved the way. It's like if you could trade away Wayne Gretzky,
That's
you could
right.
trade away anyone. If you could fire Will Fraser, you could fire
I like that
anyone.
analogy.
happened.
Yeah.
The Gretzky to their Mark Messier, right?
Yeah.
Like that sooner or later.
You were the first
everyone
domino.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it's just over for everyone else. It's just done.
Yeah.
Thank you for paving the way. If it wasn't for you getting fired, this would have never happened.
Yeah. Yeah, but if I hadn't moved on, Tommy Gazzola wouldn't come along. So it was
I think a few more
it was
people
an
had to go
addition-
down
it
first
was
before
addition
they're like,
by
all right, we'll keep
subtraction.
you around for a bit.
Weren't you already there or no?
When Will, no.
No, was that okay?
No, I think it was like a year or two later.
like Tommy Gazzola. This is a deep cut. Tommy Gazzola is the Bernie Nichols to my Wayne Gretzky.
I accept this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, 50 goal scorer.
Yeah.
That's 60 goal scorer.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd say
That's what a lot of
that's
people
pretty
say
good.
when they find out Bernie Nichols hit 61. Really, him?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
91 was a good year, man.
It was.
Like Bernie Nichols, Vincent Downfoos, and Joe Murphy
Yep.
made up the pipeline.
I was also born.
Yeah, of course. You
I was
didn't
91.
witness it.
I
Yeah.
was 91. So that's a great year. Fantastic year. Wasn't for 91, I wouldn't be here.
Okay, we've talked about a lot of crappy situations already on the Hangout. How about
Prince Bay was here
Columbus?
yesterday. Nice honoring
What
him.
up, bump? Wow. Oh, Gino. The Jackets, we got to talk about this Babcock stuff, man. I had texts coming in from buddies all over saying, like, what do you make of this? And oddly enough, people that work for the league and for teams were like, this is garbage. No, he didn't do that. And then people who work for other media outlets and are just fans of the game are like, that guy definitely did it. He's such a weird coach. He's never going to change. At the end of the day, yesterday, especially with Whitney and Paul Bissonnette doubling down and so like viciously after the statement that the Jackets put out, I'm like, I don't know what to believe, because I have my opinion of what Mike Babcock is as a coach. I don't really know the guy. I'm not going to lie to you. Haven't heard great things.
Yep.
Haven't read great things. Obviously, it's attacked and it's successful and it has been, and maybe that needs to change a little bit. But I don't know where to come out on all of this. Like, where are we at? Like, who do you believe? What do you believe? Who has egg on their face? Does everyone have egg on their face? What do you guys think?
So the premise is that he's going through players' phones or has access.
We're in a meeting
to
and
players.
he's going, hey, can I see your phone? I want to see pictures of your family.
If you asked
and
me
then
that, Maddie,
airplane,
I would let you.
But then, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. But then he's like airplaying it on his TV, and I don't know if they're all looking at it together. Like, hey, tell me about this picture. I don't
So
know
was
if
it
that's
more
what's
of an
happening.
interrogation, or was it more of a, hey, let's see how your summer was. Show me some,
So I think the way Biz Nasty is reporting it as, let me see your phone. I want to see what you've been doing. And I think the way the Blue Jackets are reporting it as was, hey, I just want to get to know you. Do you have any photos of your family that, here's photos of my family.
Now, we've, granted, we've met on a couple occasions, and obviously I know you from the radio, but would you feel inclined meeting me to say, hey, Jay, I'd like to get to know you. Do you want to show me some pictures on your phone? And hey, I'll show you mine too.
I don't think I'd ever start with photos.
I don't think so, right? You'd
Like,
probably
no.
talk.
I think
and-
that the most would be like if I knew you went on a trip somewhere and you're like, hey, I had a great time in Italy. Hey, do you have any photos, Jay, that I could, you got any photos? That might be the most I would do, but I wouldn't be like, hey, this summer, you got any pictures of your family vacation? Will, show me some pictures of your family vacation. I don't think I'd go that far.
Well-
I think it has to be offered the other way.
And I mean, right or wrong, or how it's played out, where there's smoke, there's usually fire, right? So
Yeah.
something like this, and for the Spit and Chicklets crew to double down on it, that says a lot too, because they're no dummies. They've been doing this for a while, a little bit on the more, I guess, aggressive side. But for them to do that, and Tommy, what you said is true. I mean, this coach has went several places, and there's never ever been a jolly fun feel about where he's been and how he's been doing things. So once again, where there's smoke, there may be fire.
I think this is a branding issue. Like Mike Babcock's brand for the last 20 years is that there will not be a bigger jerk in the dressing room than him. And for a large extent, it has worked as a coaching style, right? Like sometimes you need a common enemy, and sometimes that common enemy is the head coach. And it has worked, and it has also flamed out incredibly, right? Like
Mike Keenan.
Yeah, exactly. It's playing with gasoline,
Yep.
and there is a rhyme and reason to it. I think what always turned people off about Babcock is that he thought of himself as a great communicator. And so what's interesting is that in the telling of this story, in the media coverage since, the interviews with Mike Babcock, the thing that stuck out to me is that he talks about his last 2 years of walking through the wilderness. He had to realize that he was a bad communicator. And he says that, like he is quoted as saying, I had to realize that I was a bad communicator when I thought that I was a good communicator. This whole looking at pictures thing, like, was this a strategy that he came up with? Because I guess he's working with like the psychology department at the University of Ohio and stuff like this. Was this like, is this something that they have game planned in advance? The other side of it is when you talk about branding, like Paul Bissonnette and Ryan Whitney, their brand is to shoot first and ask questions later, right? Like they are known as guys that you are interested in because they are going to put their foot in their mouth from time to time. The interesting thing, and Jay, you brought this up, is that they've doubled down on it, which might be more about the fact that they don't have a great producer. It might just be that they don't have the right person that when the mics are off does proper reflection and decides, you know what, we don't need to be frozen out.
Or proper bosses just straight up saying like, hey, what did you check with your source? Like double checking that. I don't think Barstool cares that much
which
about
is a very
integrity of that
common
sense.
thing in the new media world, right?
Clicks,
there used to be editors and editors of the editors, and there used to be station managers and assistant. Like there used to be some sort of a process of review and retrenchment and all of that. And now there really isn't, right? Now you just turn on a microphone and say whatever you want, and hopefully it gets you the views.
Well, next spinning checklists is going to be huge.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to work for them. I don't know what it will mean long term, because we were talking about it before the show. Like, you can take a hand grenade and throw it into the Toronto Maple Leafs dressing room, and no one cares, right? It's the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're their own thing. You can throw as many hand grenades as you want, and it's just going to create more interest. Whereas Columbus Blue Jackets that is a beat up franchise, man. That is a franchise that is on hard times.
Yep.
And you do wonder if this will create a certain sense of resentment amongst the players that are going to look at those two guys and go, come on, guys, like, we're trying to turn a franchise around here. The coach hasn't even coached a game yet, and you're already trying to blow this thing up.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if what the Blue Jackets saying is true, which is what Babcock and Boone Jenner said, like, no, this wasn't that bad. Who's leaking this then? Which player in that room has now leaked this to now blow this up and like, okay, well, to what you're saying, we haven't played a game yet, and somebody's already leaking this to people. Like, let's get to the regular season. So why is that happening?
Has this also inadvertently started the clock on Babcock's tenure?
I think that started the day they hired him.
Yeah,
like it was always going to be like if he makes one misstep, the intention's always going straight to him. And what are you going to do?
And maybe that's why the player, whoever leaked it, did it.
Wants him fired right away.
This guy here. So
you hire Mike Babcock the same way that you hire a Sutter, the same way. I mean, you mentioned Mike Keenan. You don't hire him as this guy's going to coach for us like a Barry Trotz, right?
Right.
Like, he's not going to be an institution for the next decade. He is here to get results from a somewhat veteran squad that Columbus is. Like, Columbus is not interested in a tear-it-down rebuild. Columbus wants to get into the playoffs this year, and that's why you bring in a Babcock.
We got a text that came into the inbox, 780-218-9999. Lance says, I work with a lot of boomers at work at random times, and they love to ask to see pictures of your family. They love to show you pictures of theirs. It's innocent in their eyes and can be annoying.
Yeah. Actually, if anyone, I don't have a Facebook account, but all I hear from young people is that they refuse to be on there because their
Hate it.
grandparents are on
Yeah,
there.
it's an old platform.
Constantly like commenting on any new picture. So maybe you're right. Maybe it's just a pure generational thing.
Could be.
That a 60-year-old Mike Babcock does not see any problem with asking to see someone's pictures on their phone, whereas a guy who's 20 is kind of like, that's a pretty severe invasion
That's
of
a
my
loaded
privacy.
question. You want to see that?
The 20-year-old's pictures that he wants you to see, it's on his Instagram.
Right.
Just go check
Exactly.
out my Instagram page. It's there.
It's
all the
curated over
Yeah.
there. It is
Yeah.
uncurated
Oh
on
yeah,
here.
this is for no. You
Yeah.
don't get to see that one.
Oh, I worked with a guy that like every now and then I would see it. I'm like, you could get hit by a bus, man, and this is what they're gonna find on you. Like,
Is this from
yeah,
the morning guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like where you just be
making
like,
sure we're talking
I
about the
can't
same
believe
person.
that's on your phone, man. Like
Yeah.
you need to delete this. So it might be similar to that, where you have some players who are like, I'm never showing anyone my phone. Like there's war crimes on here.
He was willing to show it out to people. That's the thing. If a boss said, "Let me see your phone," he'd happily show you.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah.
Another text comes in from a different Jay. Says apparently he did this in Toronto too. However, the spitting guys hate Babcock and they are trying to destroy him.
They do.
Yeah.
There's a a disdain, for Babcock that's been there for a while. And who knows? I mean, both those guys are former players.
Mm-hmm.
Both those guys still have a ton of active connections in the NHL.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're highly regarded in the NHL as far as players go. Maybe not
They're
front
liked.
offices.
I don't know what they're regarded as.
Well, I mean,
They're liked. Like it's
yeah.
one of those things where it's like, I hope they're at the next wedding I'm going to. There's that type of guy.
Yeah.
And then there is the, he gave me his opinion. I'm really going to go forward with his advice.
I guess they're tolerated enough to where the lineup of guests that they get on their podcast is quite impressive.
Because they're good. Yeah.
And they're hockey guys, so
Yeah.
they're not going to sewer you. They're not going to ask questions that Halsey would ask in the locker room that's going to piss you off and annoy you. They're gonna build you up and talk about things. There might be a couple embarrassing stories, but it's kind of hockey guy talk.
Sure.
So I think that having that is probably like Maddie, what you said is that leak was taken to. I mean, who's the more credible source in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who is it? Is it NBC? Is it Fox? It's not ESPN.
No, that's true.
I mean, that might be one of the more credible carriers of your message, so to say, for a player as an outlet.
Yeah.
One person does say in the YouTube chat that the original text message to BCNet made it seem like it wasn't a current Columbus roster player.
I got that
coming in from
sense.
Patrick.
Yeah. Reading it, I'm like, is this a guy on the team or a guy that's still mad at
someone on the
Babcock
team or
from years
something.
prior from either Toronto or Detroit or Anaheim?
What I find really interesting, and this is just the business that I used to be a part of, that you are still a part of, is that you have one side that has names and people willing to be identified. As far as the Columbus Blue Jackets are concerned, they have multiple players that are willing to stand up and say, this is how it happened. And on the Paul Bissonnette, Ryan Whitney side of things, they have unnamed leakers. And so that by itself, just personally, it tips the scales, right? When you have people who are willing to put their names behind things and people who are unwilling, you should usually trust the ones that are willing to show their face.
But at the same time, Babcock has this rep, and it brings the scale back a little down a little more. Where you go, well, it is
it's
Babcock. I
interesting.
can see that.
I'm not vouching for Mike Babcock. All I've ever heard is that he's one of the world's biggest jerks or pricks in a locker room. But on the other hand, he is a man who says he has changed. And so,
But
how much time do you give that to be proven out, or do you immediately suspect the opposite?
I remember Dallas Aikens in his second season saying in his first avail, I spoke too much last year. I got to be better at that this year. And then spoke for 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't learn anything. He knew how to tell you
By
what
the
you
way-
wanted to hear,
by the
but
way,
then never followed through. And
I
how
don't
much is
know
Mike
if that's
Babcock?
an apt comparison or an unfair one. I don't know. I don't know if ever using Dallas Aikens as a comparison is fair or apt.
Yeah, those were weird days, man. Those were weird days.
He knew what you wanted to hear, and he'd tell you.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't follow through with it.
His first press conference was the toughest press conference ever because you wanted to, because of the trust we had in Craig McTavish as an evaluator of character, you wanted to believe that he had gotten this right. And Dallas Aikens, when he stood up and said, "I haven't looked at any of the film from last year," it it was a crushing sort of statement where you're just kind of like, you were hired like 8 weeks ago. Like, what do you mean you haven't looked at any tape? Like, wasn't that the first thing that you do? Like, that was a weird couple of years.
Yeah,
in
it was.
Edmonton.
He first had to worry about the media eating donuts.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you know, okay, this isn't going to go well when you're focused on that. Good thing he's not here today with the donuts you brought.
Can't
He'd be
around me
upset.
on the donut
He'd be
guy.
Maple
furious
Glaze,
with you.
thank you very much, Jade.
That's
Delicious.
my role here, clearly.
Yeah.
Also, Matt Frey in the YouTube chat says, Jay Milne, I absolutely love that guy. Nice seeing him.
Matty Frey, good drummer, excellent drummer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we used to play punk rock shows back in the day.
You play?
Did you play at Mead Hall?
I didn't play here, no.
Oh,
Do you know of
legendary.
Mead Hall or whatever?
I heard it on your stream. I
Okay,
can't
so-
believe this was this, but it doesn't look like a heavy metal studio.
Can we just
but-
do a deep dive on his heavy
That's-
metal?
well, I wanna go into
his
this.
punk
No,
career?
not heavy
wanna go
metal.
punk.
I was
No,
in
like punk.
punk rock.
What did
I
you-
was the lead singer,
No way.
for real.
Your
Yeah.
own stuff, or were you just doing Clash covers?
Oh no. We weren't Clash. We were a mix of Metallica, Sum 41, and Blink 182.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't Dustin's laughing at you.
Metallica and Blink 182. That
Think of it.
Yeah.
It can happen. Actually, Sum 41 was very metal driven for punk.
Really?
So we used to do shows back in the day. There was 4 of us in our band. Actually, we opened for Treble Charger.
No way.
At Come On, I Wanna Leia at Grant McEwen.
Speaking of the Sum 41 connection, right?
Sum 41 was supposed to be the headliner on that gig.
Wow.
And I still have a shirt that has my band's name on it, opening for Sum 41.
well, good enough.
True story.
way.
Yeah, I mean, that means, hey, we made it.
Yeah.
100%.
But Matt Frey was in another band, and we used to do shows at the Fulton Hall on the southeast side by, it's kind of by Capilano area. And we used to, my parents would rent the hall. Then my parents would run the concession. My brothers, who were big dudes, would run the door, and we'd charge like $10 a ticket.
Yeah.
And everybody from Sherwood Park and their dogs would come out, and we'd have a punk rock show. And our slogan on our poster for our show was "No booze, no drugs, no fights," and it was all like Christian and Mormon punk rock bands getting together and having some Dr. Peppers.
That is incredible.
I'm too old to know what the current scene is like, but at least
Taylor
it feels-
Swift.
Punk-wise?
Well, no, it feels like I remember back then, like you couldn't throw a stone without finding live music in this city.
Right.
Like any night, like the days of the sidetrack.
Battle of the Bands.
Sidetrack.
We played at the
Cafe,
Sidetrack
like,
numerous times.
I remember in high school going and seeing a young Wide Mouth Mason. Because they were under 18, they'd have to drive up from Saskatoon to just play at the Sidetrack Cafe just about every other weekend.
Yeah, Sidetrack was great.
Yeah.
The Iron Horse
Yeah.
used to have live
So
music.
is this still a thing and I just don't know where it's taking place?
Starlight Room this Friday, Whale and the Wolf. Get your tickets now.
Great plug.
Lucas
Yes.
Holt being on the show tomorrow. Whale and the Wolf new album dropping tonight at 10 o'clock. Boom. See how I did that?
Nice.
We didn't even plan that.
What about
The thing
nice.
though
That
is,
was nice.
I think one thing that, and Eric will have to correct us later, there's a lot of closures we've had in this city of live music venues.
Yeah.
That there's less of those. Like Starlight Room is still going.
Yeah, but
that
you were
is
just
great.
talking about it like you'd go and rent the Polish Hall or
Yeah, we
something like
rented
that.
the
Yeah.
Fulton Hall and we charged a ticket, and it was great. It was easy, and it was a good way for people to listen to music. There used to be a ton of Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
Even between Bev Facey High School and Salisbury High School and our ABJ, you'd have a Battle of the Bands,
Yep.
and you'd have 3 bands come to your high school at lunch hour, and it would be a thing. It's fun.
Is it the death of punk and the death of grunge? Is that why? Because back then it was like anybody could go and buy a guitar, and within 6 months, like they could be up there hammering
power
out
chords aren't
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. They could just be
the
hammering
Stevie
out
Ray Vaughan
whatever
of
song they
music.
wanted.
It's
right?
pretty simple to do. I mean,
Yeah.
I could throw a guitar on.
Is that part of it? Is it's
Probably.
just the nature of music itself has changed so that
music has changed so
Oh, yeah.
much, and the way that you can get your music has changed so much
Yeah.
too. Like we have actually.
By the way,
true
what's
story.
the name of your band? 'Cause some people are
Yeah.
asking. Or what was
Okay,
the
it
name?
was Brody at the start, and then we turned it into North Shore.
Okay.
So North Shore. So we actually had 2 albums that we created, right? And we were on the Bears because remember they used to do a top 10 at 10.
That's right.
Yes.
We cracked that for like 2 nights.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not kidding. Yeah, it was.
Did
pretty
you
cool.
listen both nights?
all the time?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, I'm on
We're on the
radio.
radio.
This
Yeah.
is cool. But yeah, it was great. It was like the time of my life. And actually, in later years, because we disbanded, and I don't want to take up.
No, this
No,
is great.
this is what the show is. This is what the
Okay.
Hangout is.
We disbanded because our drummer wanted to become a firefighter, had to go to firefighter school in Vermilion, and so we went away. But we came back like later in life, and we kind of dulled it down, and we did a few weddings actually.
Oh,
Nice.
And that is a blast.
Oh yeah.
Because you think about
People
it.
are there to have a good time.
People are drunk.
Yeah.
I mean,
People are
you
there
could-
to have a good
You could
time.
get Dusty up there singing. It would be they'd love it, right? But people are drunk, and weddings are a good
You
vibe.
just created a revenue stream right there.
Let's do it.
That's the idea.
Sports Talk wedding tour.
Yeah, Dustin's
led
gonna
by
be able-
Dustin
Dustin
Milne.
Johnson
I play
featuring
the
the
triangle.
Eagles. Yeah, but people are there for a good time. Vibes are high.
Yeah.
And you don't play your original.
Love is in the air.
Yeah, you play like the hits, and
Yeah.
you could do Poker Face by Lady Gaga. You could wedding songs like Shout.
Yeah.
Like, and you're the guys. You're
bringing the fun.
entertainment. Yeah. Oh yeah. And you have to join in on the fun too. But yeah, we did quite a few weddings, and sometimes it was just a 2 or 3 man band where my bass player he'd play the kick drum at the
Oh,
same time.
yeah, yeah.
A little toned down for a smaller hall. But yeah, it was great. It was honestly like the best. Being in a band.
We might
is-
have to
is
get
cool.
you guys reunited at
I
some
think
point.
so. Well, maybe with the Whale and the Wolf, I could do a cameo a guest appearance and break out one of the North Shore, originals.
Original.
Jeez, having a hard time with this mic here, fellas. Maybe.
Entertainment for the AM Nasty Bash next summer.
Maybe that's a
Hey,
good idea.
this is a question to the boys of the band. You guys, we can jam in my garage. We can get back. We can get all the hits laid out, and we can do that if they're
that
on,
be
because they're all back in the city now. So
Oh,
we could get the band back together, literally.
That would be amazing. And I like how we're already planning next year's Nasty Bash.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like we had it.
It's never
You
too
guys
early.
will have to come, but it was like right then and there. Like I was thinking this is a one-off thing. Like great, we're gonna have a fun night. This is a great way to launch Edmonton Sports Talk. And then like halfway through the night, people are like, can't wait for next year. It's like, yeah, we're doing this next year. Like it was that much fun. So it is big planning for it.
I can't wait for next year because I missed
you weren't
this year.
there.
Yeah, I wasn't there. Lance follows up with the punk community still rents halls for shows.
Okay.
I never had a chance to get to the sidetrack. I did go to the Dinwoody to see a couple of shows.
You're probably too young for the sidetrack.
Sidetrack. It was already the condo building, the
Yeah.
Venetian or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I lived across the street from it for like
It was a
10
cool
years.
place, man. It was dark. It was like a train track.
It
like
was-
kind of
it
a
was
motif.
fantastic.
Yeah.
There was rail cars in the back and little and it was really cool. Like the green room there was smaller than this, but the signatures and the names you'd see on the wall, you could just sit in that room and look at, oh my gosh, like these people were here. And a lot of bands, like younger bands, came through, and that was a venue where in Edmonton, that was one of the main venues that you could hit up, was the sidetrack, because the sound in there was great. The audio quality was really good, and they
Well,
put
and they
on a
were
good
ready
show.
for you. That's what I always heard from guys that
professionals. They were
they
the
were
real deal.
so used to like being in Lethbridge or Lloydminster or whatever and showing up, and the building doesn't even know you're performing that
Right.
night.
Who
and,
are you?
like, exactly. Whereas
Soundtrack was professional.
Yes,
sound guys.
yeah.
They were ready to go. It was their MO. Like
Yeah.
that was their thing, was live music.
yeah,
DT Lee in YouTube goes, I wish there was still shows at the Polish Hall. Did Jay ever play the multi-purpose Rompus Room? I saw Snafu back in the day, tiniest little space, used to be on Jasper Ave around 95th
SNFU.
Street. SNFU. Like, I always
Society
get,
for No.
I always get
Use.
confused with it's
Get it right.
SNFU or SNFU.
SNFU.
Okay, thank
But
you.
maybe hardcore saying sniff you.
I don't know. Eric, what is it? Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Societies know
Yeah.
FUs,
Yeah.
right?
But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Eric knows. But did you ever? Do you know of the multi-purpose
check it.
Rompus Room?
No,
Okay.
I've never played that. I've been to a couple weddings at the Polish Hall. Never played the weddings though. But and that's great to hear that there is still
a music scene.
A music scene.
Like I
going
said,
on.
I don't want to assume that anything's changed. I just know I've gotten older, so like I'm sure I'm just not plugged in like I used to. But man, like when I was young, like it seemed like anyone and everyone was either trying to form a band or trying to get out of a band. Like they were in 3 already and they needed to whittle
Cut
it
back to
sort of thing.
the
Well,
main
yeah.
one that they want to go
Yeah.
with.
And when we played that, it was the Kamana Wanalea party at
Great
Grant
name.
McEwen.
Yeah.
And it was in the cafeteria there. It was packed. There was 3,500 people there.
Oh yeah.
And Treble Charger was the main gig.
Yeah.
So our green rooms were classrooms upstairs, and Treble Charger were the biggest dicks.
What?
Oh my gosh, it was incredible. Like they would usually you can chum around a bit, and some people like, but this is treble charger. Come on, guys, it's not the Rolling Stones here. Like we're a young band, and like we actually snuck into their green room because we just wanted to see what they had for a rider compared to what our rider was, which was like a case of warm kokanee and like a bag of chocolate peanut M&Ms. Yeah. Well, their rider...
Fresh mouse traps.
Their rider had like only cantaloupe and only blue peanut M&Ms. Like stuff like that.
Just to see if it was accomplished.
I mean, I guess maybe you get burnt so many times, but like, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
Really?
That's the David Lee Roth thing, right? With the brown M&Ms back in the 80s.
He was the lead singer of Van Halen.
Right.
That's a little different than Treble Charger, I would say.
Playing a Grant Mac.
Playing a Grant Mac.
Like I saw 5440, like that Grant Mac, like sees like whatever, the fall opener or whatever.
Yeah.
And like this is like mature 5440, and they were still Canada's greatest like small act band. Like like they stood up like. A band like that has 25 years of hits to pull from, like...
Well, who's Canada's greatest band? Let's ask that.
Well, like, of all time?
It's probably the Tragically Hip.
Well, I was going to say,
Rush?
I don't know, like, I was going to go the band.
No, if you're talking about,
the
like...
band,
and I know some people don't think that's all completely Canadian.
They're not all... I mean, I get the...
But the band would be up there, I think.
If you're talking outside of Canada, it's Rush. Like, the greatest... like world like band.
Does Nickelback fall into that? I know a lot of people don't like Nickelback.
No, because
they sell out shows, they sell out their albums, but so is Nickelback in that
You have to be
conversation.
beloved, and Nickelback is not beloved.
Well, Nickelback now it's a term. You got Nickelback, or you're getting the Nickelback treatment. Like,
can I ask this? Is it sad that when we speak of our greatest Canadian bands of all time, we have to go back to the 70s, 80s, and then I guess with the Tragically Hip, 90s.
Guess Who too.
Yeah,
right?
There
Like,
just isn't really bands anymore.
Well, I guess if you want to expand this, if you just go musical acts, we still do have Drake and The Weeknd.
Well, that's what I was just going to
Justin
say.
Bieber.
It would be Drake.
There are new ones,
there's
but
not bands.
I don't think at this point we're putting them up. Like, I think if you go on music in general, who are the greatest bands of all time? I don't think we're going newer bands still. It's going to be the Beatles, the Zeppelins of the world, the Black Sabbath, this type thing. And we still go back in the day to pick our favorite music.
I still think the Killers are the best band right now.
But that's
globally.
They're good.
They're tight.
That's a personal one.
100% subjective, but like who else
Their
is up
latest
there right
album
now?
is really strong, actually. I was surprised by...
Have you seen at the Big House in Michigan when they sing Mr. Brightside in unison in the whole stadium? It gives you chills. It's a thing. It's like at Virginia Tech when they come out to Enter Sandman, right?
Yep.
And that gives you goosebumps. Google it, YouTube it. The Big House, Mr. Brightside. You will not be disappointed.
There's
It's
a
incredible.
YouTube channel called Drumeo that just specializes in drumming and stuff like that.
I went down a rabbit hole with that.
And they like to bring in known drummers and have them listen to something they've never heard before and then drum along to it.
I know where you're
And
going
they
with
had
this.
the drummer from Megadeth come in and do Mr. Brightside, and he claims he's never heard it before.
Oh.
And the guys in the booth are like, how? How could you have never heard
believe it.
Mr. Brightside?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, man. Except for the drummer for Megadeth, there's probably a real reason. Like,
and the way
the world
he played,
he's in would never have seen it.
and you listen to the way he played it, and he's like, "Oh, I picked up the beat," and he like wrote it all out in his
but
own.
he's all
like,
hi hat.
yeah,
right?
and then he's like, "I missed the end," and then he heard it, and he's like, "Oh, this is good. This is good." And then they had what's his name, Sugarfoot Moffat, who was Michael Jackson's drummer.
Yeah.
They had him do Linkin Park. Was it In the End?
Yeah.
I think, and or one of the Linkin Park songs, and he had never heard it. I genuinely believe that, knowing, and you see him and you listen to him, and I watched a bunch of his videos, and he just played along with it, and it was still really good. He's like, it's just in me, God gave me this gift, and I can just use it. And I'm like, that's bullshit, but like, he was amazing, just riffing as the music was going. He had no idea what was coming, and it was great.
Yeah. Drummers like, goalies are the weird ones on the team.
Yeah.
Kickers are the weird guy on the
Spinal
football
Tap
team.
nailed it when they talked about the drummers.
Like
man.
bass players
Yeah.
are the real wild card.
Yeah.
The bass player can...
They're either the backbone or they're the
weird guy.
the
in the
agent
back.
of chaos.
yeah.
Yeah.
The bass player is for sure the wild card in a band.
Are they ever just the weird guy in the corner eating crackers and cheese?
Mostly.
100%,
But that can either be the backbone or the agent of chaos.
It can go either way. That's the
Can go
Cosmo
either way.
Kramer effect.
And that's our guest tomorrow, the bassist. We'll learn about Lucas.
Well, that's what I mean. He's the wild card, but you guys know him well enough to know that he's probably the backbone, right? And he's not the weird guy that sits in the back corner.
Oh no, he's totally the weirdo. Absolutely, he is. It's also his most beloved character trait.
I feel like it's almost a combination of both.
Yeah.
One text comes and says, the Killers are nowhere near the best modern bands. They are so far down the list. And I just replied with, wrong. If you said like Coldplay, sorry, Maddie.
What's wrong with Coldplay?
Everything.
I'm sorry, which one of those got to perform a Super Bowl halftime show?
The Killers played the World Cup of Hockey in
that's your
2016.
Oh, the
definition?
World Cup of Hockey.
And they played the AF,
if we're going to compare the two and all that.
Aussie Rules football.
This is what I'll say about
Championship.
Coldplay. If you like a couple of their songs, they're a must-see band in person because they put on a great show. The show that they perform, and they I want to see them in a stadium. The show they do is fantastic. If you like just a couple of their songs, like obviously if you don't like their music at all, yeah, you're not gonna have fun. But if you like a few of their songs, go check them out in person.
Does the
they
Super Bowl, does the Super Bowl automatically put you into that
It puts a higher
stratosphere?
level. At least
that's
recently.
the highest you
think-
can go, I think.
They don't get paid for it because the NFL goes, you get like the NFL is telling you, we don't need you. We're bigger than you in a sense. So you're at that level.
And the Killers say, you know what, NFL, we don't even know what you are.
Didn't somebody just
I'm
turn
being
down
facetious.
wanting to be on or being
There's
asked
been a
to be
few.
on the
Didn't T Swift turn it down last year?
A lot.
Was it?
Of,
I
a
think
lot of
she was
mega
supposed
groups
to.
turn it down because of who was the last guy to do it? The Weeknd, because the Weeknd paid for his set.
I think it might have been the first to do that.
Like
Because usually just
he
get
paid
it
for his set,
yeah.
and basically that's what the NFL is doing going forward. Is they're basically going.
Well, I don't know if
bonkers.
Rihanna played.
No, like it's that negotiation,
Yeah.
though, right? And
Like
so,
you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Like straight up, that's not going to
like
happen
it's
the
that
one way.
sort of a negotiation standpoint where they're basically the NFL's like, listen, we're giving you all of the attention.
You
that
get a
comes with it."
10-minute.
Billion
And a
viewers.
Taylor Swift is
Yeah.
kind of like,
She's good.
I'm pretty sure I could put on a concert and take all your viewers with me, so I don't need.
That's
you,
why
right?
often you'll see artists come on now and they right after announce a tour or an album or something. Beyonce did that when she did it. It was like that night she did a world tour.
I have teenage boys that they just listen to Imagine Dragons constantly. I don't know if that means
Grey
that
Cup
they're
halftime
big
show.
or not, but
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was.
They were good.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they're a
good.
solid band. But I have no idea of where they stand in the world.
Recent
of music.
memory though, like that Super Bowl halftime they did with Dr. Dre, Snoop
Yeah.
Dogg,
That was
Eminem.
fantastic.
That was the
It was also
best.
for
That's
old
crazy.
people, though, right?
I don't know.
It was
No,
for
I don't
us,
know.
right? Like
There was a lot of younger people that really enjoyed that
That's-
one.
that-
I think,
those- that
I think
music
that
still
one
resonates.
transcended
yeah.
because it was also the first time they went with that genre in a Super Bowl.
I
halftime
feel
show.
like looking at Snoop Dogg is kind of like how I used to look at Paul McCartney, where it's just kind of like, wow, guy's still doing it. Like
Fair.
I respect what's going on, but there's no emotional connection, right? Like I was not alive when their best stuff came out, and I feel it's kind of similar to that with Eminem, Snoop, all those kind of guys, where it's like if you were born after 2005, you're probably not making the same emotional connection with those guys that we already have.
So if Travis Scott and Marshmello played the next Super Bowl,
Yeah.
all the young folk would be like, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
And everybody else would be like, "What is this?"
I have no idea
Who is that?
I know who Travis Scott is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But that's not where he's supposed to be, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Somebody does ask in the YouTube chat, bands you went to see live that sucked from Roy Keane.
Junk House.
Junk House.
Junk House was so true to
Oh.
their name, like unbelievable.
Arcade
but you
Fire.
have to be sober to play your instruments.
Really? Arcade
Arcade
Fire?
Fire.
I saw
interesting.
Arcade Fire last year, and I was like, "That was a bad show."
That's
Kings
a,
of Leon is bad.
that's a big group, though, right? Like
It is.
There's members always kind of coming in and out, so it
Yeah.
probably depends on which version of Arcade Fire
It
you
was,
saw.
and it was when the lead singer was.
Well, the
going- had
allegations just came out,
allegations. the vibe at Rogers Place was not good. It was very empty.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I was expecting more, and I had their first couple of albums, and I really liked them. I liked their vibe, and saw them live, and I'm like, you know what? I think this is it with me and
might be
Arcade
done.
Fire. Yeah.
Kings of Leon I saw, and they just stood there, played, didn't move. There was no presentation, nothing. And then they came back again, and I knew people going, and I didn't want to. And they all said afterwards, it was, they don't do anything. They just stand there, play their music, and leave.
Well,
and
it's what they used to say about Rush, though, too, right? Like, they used to say that Rush was one of those ones where you bought every album. But now the diehard Rush fans would see like 100 of their shows, but there'd be a lot of people who were like, yeah, I went to a Rush show. It was really long. That drum solo really goes on for quite a while. Like,
I can't say I've seen like a terrible show like, oh my gosh, I want my money back. But I gotta say, what came to top of mind would be the last time Metallica was here at Commonwealth. It was just, I think it was a combination of the sound quality. It's hard to get like super right there.
Sure.
But the song selection too, like it was just like they were really worried about pushing their new stuff.
Yeah.
And you go to a Metallica concert, you want to hear the hits.
Sure.
Sprinkle in 2-3 singles from your new album or whatever, but they really pushed it. So that was a tough one. Best concert I've ever been to live. Well, there's two there's 1A, 1B. 1B, okay, we'll go with 1B, was the Offspring. Back in the day, where the Stingers play now, currently, the Agricom.
Yeah.
There.
Oh,
it
that'd
was
be fun.
Amazing.
That would have been a great venue.
And Kid Rock.
Kid Rock was awesome.
Kid Rock.
I saw Kid Rock too.
Is
Yeah.
amazing in concert. It is a show. Like and it's
But they say the same thing about Nickelback too, where
Sure.
they're just kind of like, even if you hate the
think
band, you see them live, you'll be like, these guys are kind
That
of
was
working.
good.
I've seen more like things on YouTube and whatnot where Chad Kroger's voice just isn't what it used to be.
Sure.
So that might be
Well,
for live music, that's a tough one.
He sings a certain way that is
yeah.
tough on the instrument. So
Same as the Offspring.
yeah.
I saw them at a Bear Howler, and they were really good. I enjoyed them. Same with Sum 41. They did a Howler. They did one of the one right before COVID, I think.
Sum
And it
41's
was-
done now, right?
Yeah, they've announced, and I'm sad because they were really good too. I'd go see them again, but
They were
I don't
good.
get a chance.
Fairly recent Canadian band that actually hit it off really well. Nash and Whitecourt text in 780-218-9999. Who in the hell said Kings of Leon are bad?
Live.
That would be Matthew Awanek.
I said live performance. I like their music. I felt
He also likes
going to
Coldplay.
their show. Yeah, who sell a bunch of albums too.
Don't defend it. Just stand behind it.
I'm proud
Just
of it. I
mic
have
drop
no
on
issues
it.
with it. I have no.
Just be like, Kings of Leon, we're
gladly
garbage,
say it.
and they'll always be garbage.
Oh, that part? No, live, 100%. They are the worst live that I've seen, and I would never, like, you could give me a free ticket. You could pay me some money, and I will not go see Kings of Leon live. You give me a new album? Sure, I'll give it a listen.
You know what's happened with music too is the Spotify
Yeah.
movement of music where like I think like on the top 100 Billboard top 100 or something right now, I'm pretty sure all maybe top 5 songs are country artists.
Yeah.
And of the top 10, you're not a country guy? Tom?
Jay, I'll
New country,
cap it
not
off
for
with
me.
what my thoughts on
Okay,
country
okay.
are, but continue, please.
So Zach Bryan, I think has 9. And do you know who Zach Bryan is?
Do I know?
Bryan or Zach
Unfortunately,
Brown?
Does he wear jeans and cowboy
unfortunately,
boots
I
and
do.
a
Sorry, am I saying this
hat?
wrong?
I
don't
think
know.
you and I.
Because
Zach
I might
Bryan,
not know.
agree.
It is
Zach
Zach Brown?
We
Zach
hate
Bryan.
our country.
I don't even know who Zach Bryan is.
I think he has 9 of the top
Zach
10 songs on the Billboard 100. And now I'm sure I'll get blasted on the text line.
Oh, look at that.
218-9999.
Thank you.
Tommy, the way that
was
the
recently
9999 rolls off your tongue, it's
99.
just majestic, I
Thank
must
you.
say.
He was arrested for interfering with a traffic stop in Oklahoma a couple days ago.
Right.
Just throwing that out there.
Like, yeah, but you know,
Does that give you street cred? I don't know if it
and
does.
then the one guy that
Billboard
wrote
Top
that
100.
song, like the rich men of North, I don't know the name of it, but he literally just put out a incredibly talented singer, plays the banjo, wrote the song, put it out on YouTube. Spotify caught a hold of it, and it went to the top.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so that's totally changed the game. But to have, you know, Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, and Zach Bryan are your top, and this is any genre. This is top 100 Billboard. To see 3 country artists, I think it's the first time it's ever happened.
Well, part of it is also the death of the album, right? Like,
Which is-
single.
It used to
Yeah.
be that you had to create an album and then tour that album and push it. And you're right. Like, now it is the age of the one-hit wonder, which is, however, not uncommon, right? Like, Groove is in the Heart is still being played.
Yeah,
Right? Like, this is not a weird thing to see one song, one group rise to stardom and then quickly fade out. So I guess time will tell if these guys have staying power or not.
And Jay, the way I would cap that off, and I make this joke, but I say it because there's truth in this, and I believe you pointing out where these country artists are ranked right now in the charts. Country music right now is pop rock with a little bit of fiddle. That's all it is, and like they have rap beats now.
I was gonna
and
say
if
when
you
half of them are just old covers
I
of
can't
old
agree
pop
more.
songs,
And
right?
And I don't know if I like it or if it's just like, I want Chattahoochee back,
Right.
but it's okay. But yeah, like is it Taylor Swift playing this song or is it Morgan Wallen?
The crazy thing to me is I don't like new country. I don't like the fact that all it feels like it is covers.
That's right.
And the root of it goes to one of the greatest recording sessions I think of my lifetime, and that's Johnny Cash. He put out 7 albums right before he died that were all covers.
Yes.
Right? And they are gorgeous. So I'm completely torn on the fact that the country music industry took what Johnny Cash left them and ran with it. And I love what Johnny Cash left them, and I wish they hadn't.
But he also had a career before all of that.
You're
like,
absolutely
maybe
right.
that's like, hey, get a few albums out, people, and then do the Johnny Cash and do the covers. Like, his hurt. 9 Inch Nails covers. Even Trent Reznor said he didn't like that idea, and then he heard it, and he's like, okay, he did it
Rusty
better.
Cage, man. Like
yes.
you listen to like that version, you're just kind of like, I don't even remember the original anymore.
Yeah. But now, like, you listen to a country song or supposed country songs, and you're like, hey, this is catchy. I like this. And then you're like, and then you think about it, this isn't country. This is not a country song.
No, it's not.
It just has
It's
a little
the
bit of banjo and fiddle.
It's the way country's progressed.
Yeah.
And
This
it's
sucks.
probably because maybe they had to, adapt to a more new age style of music. I'm not sure. But that's like you have that mixer board on the floor there, right? That's how a lot of songs are written now. If you go to Ed Sheeran, he does a one-man show
one-man band
with that instrument, right? And he can play it and loop things, and he can make beats, and that's just the new technology. And maybe country music felt like they needed to do that.
Ed Sheeran, before he really hit it big, he played in the lobby of Bell, where we used to work.
That's right.
He came in, and they had like 200 people, Virgin Radio, to watch Ed Sheeran perform. And this is like right before he hit it big. I always still find that really weird.
Were you there?
I was working in the station. I never really went to go watch the show. Like I peeked by a little bit. But yeah, it was weird.
His show at Allegiant Stadium last week had to be canceled because part of his stage shifted on the floor. So there was like 80,000 people that were stuck outside in Vegas, and like people were getting heat exhaustion, throwing up, and they had to cancel the show and postpone it till late October.
I've thrown up at a rock show. Was that heat exhaustion?
I'm not a doctor, but I'll take a guess and say no. So from the lobby of the Bell Media Building on Stony Plain Road to Allegiant Stadium, telling 80,000 people you have to go home because the stage is dangerous and might kill you if it falls over.
Well,
That's quite
Adele
the
was
change.
the same way. She was a girl who had just put out an album and then toured through Canada doing like basically that sort of thing, like the West Edmonton Mall type of stop, and now she's headlining shows in Vegas for.
Why? And she doesn't like touring.
Yeah.
She doesn't like the actual big tour. I think she's done it once.
Yeah.
And she just prefers the one location and stuff. I'd see Adele.
She's
I'd go
even
see
made
her.
that a disaster in Vegas. Apparently, it's just been a mess with
Well,
her
because
as
she
her
doesn't
residencies.
she doesn't perform unless she's feeling perfect.
She's like a Swedish hockey player.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
So I think that's the frustration, is that you'll have Adele tickets and it's like, no, tonight she's not going to sing.
And meanwhile, I think Taylor Swift extended her tour to 2027.
When you're making $1 billion, you can probably find.
Yeah, but Adele could have done that. She could have done this before Taylor Swift, I think. A few years back, if she announced that full-on tour, but she announced only a couple dates here, and I think she went to Vancouver for a couple days, but she didn't do a full tour type thing. And
Swift and she's cultivated that whole Swifties phenomenon.
I still don't.
I don't get that.
I don't either.
You
I don't know
don't
how
get
it.
it?
I don't know how
You're
it became
not
this big.
supposed to.
I know,
No,
but I
I
don't get
know,
how it
but
became
like-
this big, and I look forward to reading up on this a few years.
Like
about,
if you or
like,
I
this
were
is
to
what
get
she
it,
did.
we'd be on a watch list.
Right.
So it's good. We're not supposed to get
Okay,
it.
well, thanks for the confidence, because I just don't get it. I mean, she has bangers,
Yeah.
no question. I mean, then there's some
But
some
to be
good
this
songs.
level, where like there's
It's
this
weird.
massive amount of ticket requests, like that I just don't understand
it's-
how she got to that level.
It's Beatlemania, right?
She went
Yes,
for
yes.
She went to the Jersey Shore, like in between concerts for like a dinner, and word got out that she was on the Jersey Shore. They literally had to shut down the Jersey Shore because that many people showed up. They exhausted all of their first responders to deal with this.
But I also blame her. Like
How
it's
do you-
one of
but
the,
I mean, she
it's
went
one
for
of those,
dinner.
Yeah, but sorry, like that just like if you're president of the United States, you don't get to just go out for a walk in
Hey,
the
not
neighborhood
everybody's
anymore,
like you, where
right?
you
Like,
just don't eat anymore.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift needs to
like
eat well.
Taylor Swift, if you've got $1 billion tour, guess what? You don't get to hang out anymore. Like there's going to be,
I've seen-
you're going
she
to tire
seems-
up emergency services for
She
an
seems
entire
pretty
city.
nice.
But if you'd like to hang out with EST, you're always welcome, Taylor Swift. You could teach us of why you're so big. Just speak directly to her.
Yeah,
Also,
sure.
we have to mention.
do you know what that would do to this area? Like,
Oh, it'd be something else.
nobody
we have
ever can find
great
this
coffee
building.
for her now. The Achy Breaky podcast.
Hey.
We're supposed to have a new episode. I don't know. I'm so confused. When are you guys recording again? Tomorrow. They're doing a new episode of Achy Breaky podcast. So stay tuned to EdmontonSportsTalk.com if you want 90s country info from Eric and Dusty.
it was
There,
the
I
last
throw
time
that in.
Dusty was tough, so I kind of like it. Like if you ever hear Dustin talk about that time in his life, like he was moving cattle, he was setting up like
Doing the
agricultural
4-H.
sprinklers, like he was a tough kid back then. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad to see the return.
No calluses on those
Yeah,
hands.
exactly.
Will.
No, there are not.
Well, now he's got minions doing it for him.
That's right,
because
yeah.
He's the boss.
He's the boss.
That's right.
He's the boss.
I got the tech. Tommy's got the plumbing.
Yeah. That's right.
Works like a charm.
Yeah.
Works like a charm. Jay, we did have a text from Matt Frey say maybe you can sing a few bars for us and take us out to a break here.
100% not. But I will make a personal guarantee that if I can get the band together, we will come and we can open up for Wolf and Whale at that show.
Whale and the Wolf.
Or Whale and the Wolf. Sorry, I always do that.
That's fine. They get that a lot.
I bet.
You want to open up for Whale and the Wolf?
Yeah, man.
So we'll have to do a special show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to
we'll
get
do
them out to the St. Albert Rugby Club for the party.
Wolf and the Whales, their cover band.
Yeah, right.
Will Fraser, Tom Gazzola, Jay Milne, Matt Awanek with you here on the EST Hangout. We'll be back after just a few minutes.
The Oil Stream.
Last summer on the Oil Stream, you and I discussed the possibility of Gagne coming back here on a PTO. He signed with Winnipeg and got an actual contract.
Anytime you can have Sam Gagne involved in your organization in any way, it's a major positive for you.
They love him.
The Oil Stream with Nielsen and Gazzola. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla, as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey, Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch, Sundays at 8:30, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
And return here on the EST Hangout. Matawanek, Wil Fraser, Jay Milne, Tom Gazzola. Jay, you were the former, we're trying to figure out what to say where you're from. Avon's Furniture, where you gave us some, this is where these beautiful tables came
beautiful.
from.
I don't know about giving you guys. You haven't got the bill yet.
Yeah, well, that goes to Dusty, the boss, remember.
Give it to the boss.
Right,
yeah,
right,
it's got to go to the boss. Actually, we should rack up that bill a little more. If there's anything else you could send us, and then just bill it all to Dusty.
Every child moves out at one point, and they need to spread their wings. So the parents need to help furnish their house. So that was what we did.
You guys have the connection both to Dusty. You were his co-host.
And before that, and his color man.
That's right. And you were a color man with him on Golden Bears football.
That's right. Back in the day, back at Foot Field, calling the games.
Color guy for Dustin Nielsen might be the easiest gig in the business.
He just talks?
Oh, yeah, man.
Well,
he's good. He's good.
I know there's another one in town that talks a little bit, and it gets the other one quite upset that he doesn't get to speak enough.
I have no clue who you're speaking of.
I don't either. I have a guess, but...
I didn't say that.
Actually, Stauffer, speaking of Stauffer. Oh, shoot. Did I just do that? Stauffer, when I played Golden Bears football, Stauffer was still with CJSR.
Yeah.
And he was the broadcast guy for our Bears football games.
He was.
Yes, he did.
So he
was
rode
great.
the bus with us. He was, it was hilarious. So I got to know Stauffer pretty well.
Stauf going to the Oilers hurts the Bears quite a bit because he loves the Bears more than he loves the Oilers. Absolutely. Yeah. He loves the Golden Bears more than he loves the Oilers. I will say that right now.
He is one of those guys that if he won the lottery, he would just build his own booth at all U of A stadiums and just broadcast it to no one. Like it might just go to a tape.
Yeah. It's one of the things you love about Bob is how much he cares about the Golden Bears.
Well, he a couple things, working with him for 8 years, traveling with him for 8 years, becoming good friends with him over the course of that time. I have witnessed him firsthand watching a Golden Bears hockey game on his laptop while calling an Oilers game on the road. He had enough time to watch.
I think Dustin Nielsen might be susceptible to certain things like that as well.
Oh, there's some things I can say about Dusty with the calls, but I'll leave that. He's the boss. I got to be careful.
Yeah,
That's
and
what you say.
I went to a Golden Bears hockey game with Stauf and Cam Moon and Johnny Sexsmith last season. They were playing UBC, and when he goes to the Drake,
it's his rink.
I make the joke that I've never seen so many old men kiss Bob's ring.
After Claire Drake, that's his rink.
Yeah.
So what is it about the U of A that builds this kind of loyalty from the people that are closest to them?
He never graduated.
Exactly.
I never went to the U of A, and I love that program.
Bob is that way, and so is Dustin. Yep. Dustin loves.
I think it's because it's amateur, right? It's because it's not. You're playing. I mean, especially back when Bob was calling the games. Like now, things are different. Where student athletes can essentially have their school paid for.
Sure.
But back then, there was the WHL scholarship still that was put in place,
and that was about it,
right? But that was about it. So you're playing because you love the sport, and don't kid yourself.
And you're playing at a high level,
a very high level.
The other thing.
I mean, a lot of those Bears, like most of those Bears players, hockey obviously come from the WHL.
Yeah,
and I obviously when playing there, Bears, the football guys and the hockey guys hung out. That was just a natural fit. Those hockey guys were like straight A students.
Oh yeah.
Right? So they're there for the right reasons. They play incredibly talented hockey.
Because if they weren't, they'd be playing in Lethbridge.
Probably.
Calgary.
Hey, Lethbridge burn.
Calgary's known for that too. That's why their football program was good for so long.
But Bob was there in some very good times for the men's hockey program.
Well, when is it
the
not
Rob
good
Dawn
times?
years were incredible. Like they never lost games.
And a lot of those guys, I mean,
Yeah, but Claire Drake before,
Yeah.
it's always been good.
Billy
years.
Morris. Now
Yeah,
you got
exactly.
Ian
Yeah,
Herbert.
yeah.
What was it last year? They didn't get to the Canada West final or something. It was like the first time in forever.
Oh,
Something like
wow,
last
yeah.
couple. Like it was just like, how do you? We're not in the Canada West final.
Yeah.
How dare you
Funny
shut down
story.
the league? Like
when they hosted nationals here one year, and the U of S Huskies were given, because it used to be when our locker room, we still had a locker room on campus. This was just as we were migrating to Foot Field, where the Bears now play. And they have their own locker room there. But it was kind of that feeling out period where we still had our locker room by the Butterdome on campus.
Mm-hmm.
They gave that locker room to the U of S Huskies for the nationals. So, and they could, because you can walk right to the Drake from there.
Okay.
But they didn't change the access code for us to enter the Huskies locker room. That was fun.
How long ago was this? Like statute of limitations is passed, right?
Oh,
Like,
sure.
Is this
You
04
can't
or
be
prior-
criminally
before?
charged anymore.
Pardon me?
can
is
you?
this like the 04 time or is this? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was part of then. Okay.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. They, I don't know. They may have had some issues with their equipment.
with everything? Yeah.
Maybe.
Shower, just no pressure in those showers. And
Yeah.
Only cold water.
There might have been some words left in the wall and stuff.
Oh,
It's okay.
that's sports right
That carpet was sandy. Oh,
I don't know, but it was fun. I mean, what are you gonna do? You should have changed the code or at least blocked our code.
Right.
Because it is our
Yeah.
locker room. So we were just going in to get our stuff.
Right.
And lo and
course.
behold,
Sure.
all the Huskies.
Honestly,
gear is
if
there.
you didn't do something,
Oh,
they
it'd
should
be
be
shame
upset
on-
with you.
shame on
Like
me.
you guys should almost be expelled at that
Shame
point
on
from
our
the
leadership
school.
corps.
Like
Absolutely.
it would be how we left that for you guys.
Yeah, we left you a nest egg.
Why
here.
did you not
what
do
are,
something?
What are you
So
doing?
no,
We took care
The
of it.
university wanted you to do something.
I'm sure
that was their message to
I'm
you
sure
guys.
Ian Reed was really excited about that.
okay.
What position did you play?
Safety.
Oh, that's a
Nice.
great position.
It is. It is. I loved it. I played quarterback in high school.
You complete full sentences still. How did you play
And
safety?
dude, that was back in I say this all the time because I now work with the Edmonton Wildcats.
Yeah.
And I say this to players, and I could not play in today's game.
Yeah, because you led with your helmet.
I was taught to hit with my head, and I did a very good job with that. Anybody that's played it with me would say the same thing, right? That was kind of my MO. I would take you if you came across the middle.
An assassin.
Yeah, it was
Like
going to
Ed
happen.
Reedish.
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, yeah, that's a lofty comparison, but yeah, like he was a hitter, right, or a Brian
Trent
Dawkins,
Brownish?
you know? Yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, Trent Brown, him and I still talk all the time.
Yeah.
Because he's a Bears alumni and he's very attached with the team, amongst other things with James H. Brown, right? But him and I have the interception record at the U of A, tied.
Okay, so it's one season or total career?
Total. Well, he
So-
played 4 years. I only played 3, and we had
Oh,
16.
you got 16.
Mhm.
Wow.
1 year I had 8.
No way.
Way.
How many
Way.
times did you get beat deep?
Mm.
How many times did they catch you cheating?
See, that's a quarterback's job. Okay, those are the guys on the outside.
Wait, but isn't the safety there to protect?
I protected the middle. I mean, hey, I'm sure we all got beat.
It's.
But
Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, okay, we know Golden Bears hockey games are, especially on weekends, like that vibe is awesome. But now it looks like with the resurgence of the football program,
2-0.
yeah, and big wins too.
Big.
Those games look like the place to be, especially with the weather being warm and Foot Field looks like it's more or less full. Like,
Cam Moon sent me a picture from this past week's game against
Yeah.
Manitoba, and like he was on the standing side, like the nice bleachers, and then there's the wood on the other side.
Packed.
Packed. People are sitting on the grass in front.
Yeah.
And me and Eric went to a game last year against the Huskies, and it was unbelievably packed. Like it was like awesome to see. And 2-0, like, is this a legit 2-0? Do you know?
Legit.
Yeah?
Yes. Well, Chris has been building this program for many a year. I was part of the alumni association for quite a few years, and when Chris came in, and he took over a program that was not where it needed to be. The funding wasn't there. The scholarship money was not there. Now they're finally to the point where they work their butts off to get to where they are in terms of scholarship money. Because the university, you see, the university gives them a certain amount of money, okay, to compete. But that's not going to have you competing against the Lavals of the world or the U of S's of the world, who are probably bringing in closer to $800,000 to $1 million per year
Oh, geez.
to fund their team. That's travel and scholarships and everything. So now, through a lot of hard work that they've done with building their camps. They do a lot of great camps, kids camps, football camps. They've built that up to now they can compete dollar-wise for the best players in Canada or Western Canada, right? You're not going to lose guys to the Huskies anymore. You're not going to lose guys to the Dinos. So now it's the fruition is finally here where it's come to a head. Now you're seeing the product that, because Chris he's a great coach. I mean, he's the right guy for the job, obviously, but now it is a legit 2-0. And I mean, I think it's going to be them and the Huskies as it was back when I played, actually. Yeah. But I mean, those are two great programs. Those are top 10 programs in the country for sure.
It's great to see the Bears. Like,
it's
I'm
awesome.
not used to seeing the Bears football team. Like, their volleyball's great, their hockey's great, and football never in my life really has been a program like a solid one. You'd go and
there were a lot of down years, right?
But the idea that like 2-0, beat the Dinos, beat the Bison, and then like you're looking at
Dinos.
And then the rushing yards from this past week, just looking at what they could do on the ground. Like, man, could this be something at Foot Field? And I think they're away this weekend. Back next weekend. I should double check that. It's going to be a blast to get back there.
I think they'd be away. It'll come down to them and U of S, I think. But
who are always just so strong.
Yeah.
Well, they recruit from the entire province.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And I mean, for the Bears here to have the Huskies and the Wildcats that, should be moving players up to the CIS level. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the way it certainly was when I played.
Sure.
In fact, I went to the Bears camp out of high school, and I got told to leave and go play junior because you weren't good enough. Went and played junior for 2 years, came back, and had a successful career with the Bears. And that happens, but football is also different. Like, kids now coming out of high school are way different. There's training programs in high school. Football's taken a lot more serious at the high school level. Yeah. Which is now making it easier. Not that I agree with it. I still believe there is a place for junior football to be a part of the development of a player. But there are players that are coming out now that are making the jump to a CIS level a lot more frequently, I guess you would say.
This Friday, Saskatoon, U of S versus U of A, 7 o'clock.
That's the one.
2 TV night. Elks taking on the Riders. You got Bears taking on the Huskies. It's going to be a fun night of football.
Whale and the Wolf.
That's going to be a big one, too.
And the Wolf and the Whale.
Right, the cover band.
Playing all their covers.
Led by Jay
Before and then Whale and the Wolf comes out. They switch spots.
Talk to my agent, okay?
Okay. We're working on it with your booking agent.
I went to a Bears volleyball game last year, the championship game. It was a great atmosphere at the Saville Center. Like, I don't know what's like. There's something that like the students have brought it to the athletics to create great atmospheres.
Volleyball's always been.
And like Saville, it was sold out, legit sold out. And like I think it was the football team. They were on the court behind the other team as they're serving and stuff and trying to like get them off their game. It was a blast.
Probably full of Big Rock.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoy a big rocker too when I go to a game at the Drake.
Well priced too. Well priced.
Yes,
very well
kudos.
priced. And that's the thing. I think it's an alumni component too, because it's a bit of a family atmosphere where you can take your kids and you can say, hey, mom or dad played here or whatever. You know, like we go to a lot of the Pandas basketball games because my wife played Pandas basketball, and it's incredible as well. Like the vibe in there. And we still haven't come to we don't know what it is. We still don't know what it is about U of A athletics that just gets everybody so hyped. But there is something, and I mean, for me personally, it's more of a nostalgic thing, and being able to take your kids back there and relive that a bit. But there is something about it, and the amateur side of it is a nice piece.
I think it's the grime, honestly. I think a big part of it is that old building, like, and the fact that there's no bells and whistles, man. Like there is. Like, I've talked about this forever when it comes to hockey arenas. The worst thing they did was standardize the surface. Like if you could go back in time to like 1990 when the new building started being built and say, here's your minimum, here's your maximum, like they do in baseball, and say you can build your ice surface and stadium to fit whatever fits between these two dimensions, the sport would be better off for it, because the Drake with its weird corners,
hard corners,
is enjoyable to watch, because hockey at its core is about randomness.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's interesting when you hear people complain and they basically want to break it down into a science, but yet what gets you out of your feet is when somebody screws up.
Yep.
Right? And the Drake was built to have guys screw up.
Well,
Like,
I almost killed a linesman
Yeah.
in a men's league game playing there a few years ago. I tried to rim the puck around him, and the bounce and the angle it came out almost took this guy's head off, and I go up to him like, I'm sorry, dude. I had no idea it was going to go that way. He goes, it's the Drake, man.
Drake, man,
I was like, yeah, I guess so.
Everyone loves the Drake.
Yeah. But in the 90s, you still had Boston Garden, which wasn't standard dimensions. Chicago, Buffalo, at the odd. The story of the Zamboni guy with the kick
advantage,
plate.
which the Golden Bears still rely on.
Well, look at the visitors' bench,
Right?
where they're standing in the hallway because they can't all fit on the bench.
I remember, like, when I first started in this, speaking of doing color for Dustin Nielsen, like, it was calling St. Albert Saints games at the
Aikinsdale?
The Aikinsdale Arena,
yeah.
where we had to climb a ladder and we were broadcasting above the players' benches, and people, like, they'd have 1,200 people in there, and their capacity was 700.
Yep.
Right? You'd just have people standing on the corners and stuff like that. So I do miss those days where it seems everything right now, the blueprint's already done. Like, you go to any sort of city and the arena feels the exact same. The days of the oddball arena, I do miss that. And I do think that that's part of the charm of U of A athletics, is there is a bit of a sort of grimy or something sort of feel where you're kind of like, this is our building.
Yeah.
It's no one else's.
And it's like a time warp to 1960.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
Like, oh, they didn't do anything except new paint in here and then new glass and boards. But you're like, this is like what it was like in 1960.
Yeah.
The one shame I have is, just growing up as a kid going there. You finish a hockey game, you walk over to main gym, and you watch the end of a basketball game.
Yeah.
I do miss that. Like, Saville Center is beautiful. It's great for the program and everything. But I do miss the
old main gym.
That was awesome. And you just end like, oh, it's the fourth quarter. Yeah, I'll settle in and watch the end of this. Just
and you could always feel the rush of the hockey game coming in after, mid third quarter, fourth quarter of a basketball game, and it'd be like, oh yeah, like this place.
And the Bears
is
just won because it's hockey.
Exactly.
So they're all coming in pumped up.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I miss that. I do miss that.
For like Golden Bears volleyball and basketball, you would start low, like near the sidelines, and you'd progressively get higher and closer to the windows as the evening went, because it would just heat up in there, and the only place you could get cold air was the top windows would actually open up to the outside, and so you
on the east side of the gym.
Yeah, you'd basically just continually sort of move closer to the windows as people left.
Have you been there? Like, say in the last 3-4 years?
No, I have not. No.
It is incredible, main gym, what it looks like now.
Yeah.
Like, the whole east side of the gym is gone.
Is it?
Like, they used to have the bleachers, and then they had that upper area you're talking about. Gone.
Oh man.
And it's like glass now. It is totally different. We went there. We had my daughter was running
sort of
track
an
at the
antiseptic
Butterdome.
sort of feel to it.
Yeah, it's gone. Like the real meat and bones of that place, the grime, like you say, because it did carry over to main gym. That's gone, and it seems a little too nice now.
Surveyor Brett chimes in at the text line 780-218-9999. The Drake is crazy. Benches across from each other. Penalty boxes half inside of the one zone. Surveyor Brett, that might have been you that I almost took your head off with that clearing attempt. And if it was, I apologize, like I did at that time many years ago. But yeah, I like the grime element to it. That is a great way to describe it.
Dean said in the YouTube, I live minutes from that arena. I've never seen a game there. Well, Dean, get there this year. Go. It's
just wander in, man.
Yeah,
it's beers fantastic. Are like $6, and they're not the little ones. They're as big as Tim's cup there. That's got to be a large in today's age, right? Like, that's a large, but they don't scrimp.
Yeah, the 16-ounce can.
You get the student's price, and it's just like this.
And you don't have
amazing.
to park if you live close. That's
just walk over.
Just walk over. You'll probably find one of the west doors to be loose or open, and you probably sneak in anyways, right?
Tends to happen.
Is the rat in the power plant still a thing?
Rat's still there.
Rat's still there.
Oh man, that was a great. Like, the hockey game was a great start to a pretty good evening.
Do you know what's gone though? And I think it was during COVID. It went away. Was Garneau Pub.
Okay.
Really? That one's gone. They had great pizza there, and that was always a good spot.
That was on 109th, right?
I don't. Yeah, right off the high level.
Yeah.
That was a great spot to go, and
it's
gone now.
One thing I kind of I feel like I missed out on was the U of A atmosphere, spending more time on White Avenue. As a guy that hated school and post-secondary, I just get me in, get me out. I want to go do sports, watch sports, play sports, and then chase girls. Like, that's all I wanted to do. The U of A would have been perfect for that, and I never really grasped White Ave and the campus and the magic that was there. And as I got older, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm an idiot, which I already knew.
Yeah.
Well, I never went to any of the places on White Ave. We stayed away from there as a team. We never went out to the Armory or the Iron Horse or
I was
Willy
there.
Bully,
I was the guy that was there
Squires, or,
sometimes.
Squires downstairs or the billiard club upstairs. I mean,
You stayed home.
We went home. We studied.
Yeah.
We were in our books.
Well, clearly.
Trained.
Student first, obviously.
Yeah.
Never.
I never
Especially
had
not the safety.
Yeah,
I
it's
never
weird
had
that you
any
know
of the
all
tents
those
and wings
notes.
at Squires in the basement. Maybe we had.
There were
200
no
or
rough
300
mornings the
of them.
next day outside of just you
None.
studied too hard.
You just heard about
it.
those places.
I
Jay.
heard about them,
All the
and it was
stories.
before Twitter, so you had to hear about them in the newspaper, and you heard chatter at Sub.
And you just thought this is awful. This is the worst. Like, why would people
said,
do
fellas,
this to themselves?
Fellas, don't buy the hype.
Yeah.
Stay away. Stay away. But no, we never went. Didn't tell you anything about it.
I think that tradition stays. I think the
Absolutely.
hockey teams, men, women's, the football team, the volleyball teams, men and women, they all have the same philosophy still.
Why do you think they're so good?
Yeah. They never
Why do you
go
think the
party.
Bears are the Bears? They never go out and have 20
It's the
cent
motto.
wings.
So it's not recruiting?
That's the first question recruiting. Do you like to party? And if it's no, you're our person.
See, you went to Nate too early. If you went to Nate now, you'd have all of downtown because downtown's now a thing.
Yes.
That's true.
When I was at U of A, you did not cross the river. You just didn't have to. You'd go to White Ave. That was the place to go. But now downtown has been so revitalized. That there's a lot of places.
I was rolling down 109th this summer, and it was
There's a
5
lot.
different
Yeah,
interesting looking. I was just kind of like, good for what?
There's Greta.
I was
there's
kind of like,
Defiant,
I'm
there's-
so happy
yeah.
for these McEwen
Central.
kids that they've
Central.
got some places to
And
get
then if you go
destroyed.
down Jasper, there's local, there's cabin,
Cactus
You got-
Club, and if you want to go to Joey, there's
on the
one
rocks,
by the arena. You got
Rocky
Ice
Mountain
Hub.
Ice House,
OTR.
1905.
Yeah, you want to go to
there's-
a BP? There's BPs down there.
There's so many different. Campio.
And then there's great little spots like Woodwork,
Bijou.
Bijou, yeah.
That's
Kelly's,
like Tommy's
it's-
speed on a Friday night. It's
Kelly's
little.
is his
Yeah,
spot.
Kelly's-
Go see
Kelly's
Kelly's
is
there.
great.
It is.
Love
It is
Kelly's.
great, right?
It's a cool.
Even Northern Chicken on 104.
Chicken's great.
There's just so many great spots that has
well,
come
this,
up with
this
last
is
while.
your area.
Will doesn't
is.
eat or drink, so
Yeah.
none of this matters to him.
he's
And we're
he's
clearly-
fasting right now.
Yeah, yeah.
He's allowed to
till
have
2?
that coffee.
Yeah, I'll probably go till 3 today.
Why till 3?
Well, because I'm doing this, so my run will be a little late.
Oh, okay. I see. How long do you run for?
Today will be a 10K.
How long does it take you?
About 50 minutes. 50 minutes.
Oh, that's a great time.
Hey, we had Gene in here yesterday. He did his first, what was it, the marathon?
Yeah,
And
he did a marathon.
Yeah, that's hardcore, man. I
and he
can't
went
do a
tarps
marathon.
off.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you run tarps off?
Oh, I saw a picture of him that kind of went a little mini viral, right?
Yeah.
Gino running it, tarps off.
He loves taking his shirt off. Apparently.
No, I don't think
Well,
I don't think anyone, regardless of gender, should be topless in public. So that's just my personal take.
Okay,
But
shut
if
the
you have
text
a
line
nipple
down.
ring, is
Yeah.
that cool? Like,
No,
does that count
dude,
as clothing?
it's a little like nipples in public are a little disturbing to me. I don't care whose they are. I taught my niece to shout, "Nice tits!" the next time she sees a guy without a shirt on.
Oh boy, yeah, a little, yeah.
She loves it. She is on the lookout.
Just don't do it to Gene. Not to Gene.
Oh, that's exactly at the Edmonton Marathon to see Principe run by. I wish I could have yelled that at him.
Yeah, that would have been good timing for the pun man.
Gino,
Yeah.
nice tits. It would have been the greatest moment ever.
I think a bunch of people would join you in saying that. You get a chant going.
How was Gino's flow in person?
great.
Was it still?
He needs a
It's
haircut.
looking
That's a
good.
work
Is he
of
getting
I think it was
season
looking
ready?
good.
He needs
And
a haircut.
TV wise,
Oh, he's
yeah.
he's gonna get a talking to right away here.
Like this thing behind
Really?
his neck that comes down. Are
yeah,
we,
it's,
are we
it's
over
like
that?
a
Or is
it's
that-
like a neck sweater.
Who's gonna talk to him? Sportsnet.
Yeah, they
Well,
always.
but have you seen what they've allowed on the air over the last number of years? Like
I have.
Friedman's beard or all that. Like
Yeah.
they let a lot of
Well,
things slide on their program. I don't know if
I-
anyone talks to anyone there.
I think you're right. I think Elliot has changed the conversation for everyone else because anytime there's a criticism, they just bring up an old picture of Friedman and be like, "You let him wear this suit."
TSN's different. Like if he was TSN, I'd say yeah, chat's coming. But Sportsnet, I've seen too much now to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's gonna have a chat.
Like John Lew's pushing it with that hoodie suit jacket thing.
Yeah,
He's always been at the forefront, though.
John has
Lou's
some
a
great
sharp
stuff.
He's at the forefront of fashion in
Yeah.
Montreal as well, so
Yeah.
you got to give him that.
But
right?
that one the other day, I was like,
little
that's a
progressive,
miss, John.
little progressive.
But his other stuff is phenomenal. It's loud, but it's like
But
fits
sharp.
perfect and
Yeah.
deadly. Yeah.
That's the Montreal from him living there.
Absolutely.
Bringing it
Coming
into
out, it's like-
Winnipeg and people being
Yeah.
like, "What is that?" My
Elliot
goodness.
Friedman, though, is like by far, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think he purposely tries to look that way just to get the attention on, like, because
See how
it's
far
so,
it could take it?
It's so bad, it's like funny. Some of his looks, like in his hair, like, do they not look at it before he goes on air?
that's
the
thing, like-
it is so bad. And
If he
all
was
over
on
the place.
radio, you don't care. But TV is like, no one stopped him and like, Elliot, no. Like, no.
I've sat in on a hockey night in Canada. Elliot was gracious enough to invite me, and
He's a great guy.
and they have like stylists and makeup people that do all that stuff, and yeah, like the suit rack that those guys have is just unbelievable. So I think it is him kind of taking advantage of what happened during COVID.
It's a thing now. It's
and
like
make it into
it's
a
like a
thing. Yeah,
Nickelback
absolutely.
thing. Like
It's
it's an
kinda
Elliot
funny.
thing.
Yeah.
Does
You
he
talk
do
about
anything
it.
this year? But then
It's
that's
also-
where I don't think Gene.
It's
I think
also the
Gene gets away with
inversion,
it.
right? Like we've seen it over the last, probably 30 years, where the talent has been able to turn the tables and become the shot callers on stuff like that. Like it used to be
Until
that-
your number comes up on the spreadsheet.
Sure,
Oh.
but like it used to be that you had an executive producer that was the most powerful
Yeah.
in the building, and that just doesn't exist anymore. Like
Yeah.
Scott Mellenby's dad for forever with Hockey Night in Canada was the grand poobah. What he said went. It didn't matter if you were Don Cherry or anyone else. He still had final say. That I just don't think that exists anymore anywhere. Right? Like you look anywhere, and it's the talent that calls the shots.
Yeah, I think like if ESPN, no one's telling Stephen A. Smith
Right.
what he can and can't
Exactly.
do type thing. Stephen A. goes, "Have you seen how much my contract is?
Yeah, exactly.
Go away."
And especially because the mediums have changed too, right?
Yeah.
Where you have talent going like, listen, I'll walk and start a web page tomorrow, and I'll bring half my sponsors with them. So
Especially the
there's
big,
a
big
lot,
names.
There's
Yeah.
a lot more leverage out there for talent.
Some of the stuff though is a little too much with the wardrobe. It's a little ridiculous. I think.
We're getting called out a little bit for our socks.
Good. It's
for having
still
no
summer.
socks.
I am wearing socks.
Yeah,
by
but
the
people
way.
like think that this isn't a good look or something.
We've
People
got
don't
to.
call out Tommy, do they?
Oh, yeah,
today,
of course.
Today
There's
they're having issues with the socks.
Yeah. That's okay. It is
Don't
what it is.
listen. Don't listen to Gazzola.
Thank you, Will. And you know what? Here's the thing: is we have one more week until Oilers training camp starts. I'm going to be at the rink. That's where you step up your game. That's when the summer's over and you start to step it up.
That's when
So
Tommy Suits comes out.
Tommy Suits comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shorts go away when the snow comes,
Oh,
or we
but
get
that's your thing.
below 10, like as the daytime high.
I'm not crazy shorts guy. You know, like guy that he refuses to wear
Yeah.
pants. But I'm shorts guy a bit.
Well,
Like,
spring through
are you?
fall, like
I
as
love-
much as
I
I
love
can,
shorts.
I'm wearing it.
If I second
No
I get
shorts.
home from work, I go and change and put on shorts, and they
do
stay
the
on
same.
till I take the girls to the bus in the morning in shorts, no matter the weather. It's shorts, but
That's
I
a
will not
short
go
walk.
to work in shorts. What's that?
That's a short walk, I'm assuming, to take
Yeah.
the bus. That's fine.
Jay, I'm the same way.
Yeah, I just feel more comfortable in shorts.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be a draft topic.
You ever asked your wife her thoughts on the shorts issue?
He's got great calves though.
I do. I have great calves. I've been told that at least once.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, it's starting to happen on a regular basis. I mean,
Yeah.
it just happened here live,
Right?
crazy.
You can't go a minute without someone telling you how great your calves are.
I know. Thank you. Again, wow, this is becoming a trend. Wow.
Man, you weren't lying.
I wasn't. I know. They speak for themselves. I mean, we could draft our calves. We could have a calf draft.
Well, how many categories are they got? That doesn't.
Well,
Like, I don't know where that would
I
go.
really got intrigued by you guys talking about
About
a
the
draft.
draft. Well, we
I
have to do
love-
one.
Yeah, I
Um,
love drafts.
We have to think of a really good topic. The boys do a great job at the morning show trying to
I
get
think
one.
I disagree with you on the idea of a really good topic.
Why?
I think it works better when
They're
it's a
getting
terrible,
offended right now.
when it's a terrible
but,
topic.
Well, but it's a good topic for the sake of like within the
It
confines
creates
of the draft.
engagement, yes, but-
like that, like
yeah.
if that falls in the category, we just got to come up with the right good topic that is terrible. Is that what?
That's
is that better?
exactly.
Yeah.
appetizers.
Let's say the
appetizer.
Let's say the correct.
I mean, that's a great topic.
But I don't know if like
Topic, yeah.
There's only so many appetizers you could select.
Exactly.
Well, so like the draft needs to go a while. Like we like 10 to 12 rounds maybe.
Yeah, so I mean, you get
So-
4 drafters, you get 3 rounds each.
That's way too short.
That's too short.
Again,
You
we
want to
were
go 5
going
rounds?
10 to 12.
10 to 12 rounds? Oh
Yes.
my
No, not
gosh,
pick
that
rounds.
is-
Like we go,
okay.
like we did a full hour of this. So
I just always find it like this amazing sociological experiment about how people will tribalize at a moment's notice.
Oh,
about
it's exactly
anything, like,
Yep.
and all of a sudden get heated about their opinions about whether or not
Curly fries versus crinkle cut.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, like friendships will end all
Well,
of
Will,
a
there's
sudden.
only one
Yeah,
right
exactly.
Curly
what
fries.
sucks about is
I thought I knew you.
so I'm the commish,
Yeah.
and I have to do rulings every so often.
Yeah.
And like it.
Well, it's why you're hated.
Well, that's but
Universally
there would be
hated.
days where I'd come in for a draft and be like, oh, geez, this one's going to be a rough one. Like, I'm going to have to make some sort of ruling on this one, and I'm going to have to deal with the text coming in that absolutely hate me, and then the other text saying I'm the greatest thing ever, but today's going to be a rough one. And then there's days where I don't have to make a call. It's like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like
But yeah.
when
it's-
Dusty tried to sneak a highball in as a spirit. Like, this is so wrong.
As a spirit.
Yeah.
Well,
you
what's the
put-
definition of a spirit?
Well, that was
hard
the
liquor.
one.
No,
hard
it was, I
liquor.
can't remember.
It was highball.
It wasn't.
versus-
Highball is a spirit.
Yeah,
Or
no,
was
it
it a
wasn't a
mixture?
spirit.
It contains a spirit.
Sure.
It was.
Yeah.
as
I think it was a
mixture.
cocktail.
Cocktail compared to a.
I think it was a
I see.
highball.
You know what? And I've heard this
And I
debate
called him
before.
out
We
on
had to
that.
stop,
Okay,
and then like
okay.
so we had to like we went to a commercial. We had to pause it because I'd be like, I got to think about this rule. I
Yeah.
can't do it on the spot. I walked over to the Bear Boys. I was like, I need some help with this ruling, and we ruled that no, it is not a cocktail.
Dusty had to
Yeah.
walk
Like,
it off.
So we had to
Back
take
to
that
the
one
building.
back.
Like, was he
back.
taking a vodka slime as a cocktail? Or
Well,
like,
you
It was
tried
like a
for just-
Ryan Coke. I'm
yeah.
like, that's a
no,
highball.
that's a highball. A
Yeah.
cocktail is a
It's
Manhattan.
like you gotta have like
It's
a couple of drinks.
Well,
a
yeah,
couple of
I think the
liquors.
rules are it has to contain more than 2 ingredients to be a cocktail.
Yeah, it was something like
But
and so,
if you have a Ryan Coke,
well, like more than 2.
I'm saying
only
more
two,
than
more
right?
than 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What
And
about
ice
a
doesn't
Ryan
count.
Coke with a lime wedge?
Well, that's a cocktail.
That's a cocktail.
Borderline.
I wouldn't allow that ruling to happen.
And
I don't think. After
if
what
I
I learned,
recall
that one, that
correctly-
ruling would not
yeah.
be allowed.
I mean,
in the
come on, we're following the
Yeah.
rules.
If I
here.
recall correctly, there was no lime wedge included
Right.
in Dusty's
Yeah.
proposed draft of the
Like if you
Ryan
like
Coke.
squeezed a lime, yeah, it becomes a cocktail.
I think he messed up then. I think if he pushed for the lime wedge to be included,
Yeah.
I don't
have
have allowed
no
it.
choice.
Except if you add the lime wedge, it's not a Ryan Coke, it's a Nielsen.
Ooh,
He doesn't even know that, Will. Come on.
you're putting ideas in his head.
Yeah.
The first draft I did as the commish was the sandwich draft, and that was tough.
Sandwich draft.
Well,
that
and
Well,
was-
once
hot
again,
dog. Hot
exactly,
dog
like-
came up, and I had to
Yeah.
make a ruling on hot dog.
And what was your ruling?
My ruling was I left it to the voters.
Oh,
about
you-
They said- so what I did? No. This is what I said.
That
Yeah,
is not-
no, it
This
was,
is why you're
Hold on.
hated.
There's many reasons, Will. Maybe
is why you're
maybe that's
hated.
the next draft.
Oh, the draft is the reasons
Why
Awanik
I'm
is hated.
hated. Like, we could go for hours on that
Yes.
one. No, it was if you want to take it and affect your draft ruling based on people that don't think it is or is, that's on you.
Oh, my
And I
God.
didn't want to because
Just make a call.
that was my call. You could take
What
it.
are you, the commissioner of the NFL? Like, come on.
No, it was
Okay,
one where
okay.
it was like
Borderline, yeah.
it's up. I'm the way people vote.
Whatever
is
the
gonna come
owners
down.
tell me is what the rule is.
It's not owners. It's the voters. It's the listeners.
Big
and
you-
that's where I just want to come from. Oh, is you listening?
Big Uke chimes in and says, "There's only one right answer, and it's whatever Tommy drafts: Christmas lasagna and a Guinness on the patio for St. Patty's Day. Classic.
It was Christmas meatloaf, wasn't it?
And a lasagna.
Yeah.
I love Christmas.
Yeah, we had,
lasagna. It's the
best-
best.
Best lasagna.
Yeah, my mom always makes a great. My grandma would
What
always
makes
have
it
a lasagna.
Christmas?
So it's a
Lasagna.
tradition. It's a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And my mom.
Is it just a
continued to-
timing thing, or is there an ingredient that makes it Christmas lasagna?
No, it's a straight up
The Guinness.
old school.
Well, that was the
Italian
like
lasagna.
the
Okay.
best
Nothing
summer
special.
drink.
It's
or
lasagna
something.
at
And he took
Christmas.
Guinness
Yeah.
for a best summer drink.
I might have been slightly hungover, and I might have been part of Sobeys Safeway
You
beer
said,
of the
and
week.
actually, what you
right
said
before
too
that.
was a Guinness on St. Patrick's Day. We're talking
Which is
about
not
this
summer
on
either.
the
Summer drink.
patio.
Yeah.
And it was the
It's not
summer
even
draft.
spring, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's a hypothetical for the sandwich draft.
Yeah.
Ice cream sandwich.
Oh, that one came up,
Did it?
and
Got to be allowed.
I prefer a broad definition.
I mean,
I honestly don't remember. No,
anything
I-
between
Bun.
we can't have
bread.
barriers here. It is a sandwich.
carbohydrates.
No,
It's a
I think I
sandwich.
said no because it's a cookie. It's not like I can't remember. I'd have to go back.
Well, it's 2 cookies with
yeah,
something
but
in
it's
between.
not.
That's a
That's not the
sandwich.
definition of then.
So you went bread. What about a wrap?
That's
Did not play.
this is going back like
So the Earl
this
of
is
Sandwich,
2020. I got to go think of that.
the Earl of Sandwich created
was
the sandwich so that he could eat with one hand. So I would think anything that you can like
Handheld.
that can be eaten with
See, we got-
one hand is a sandwich.
This is
See, and I
opening
think
up a
wrap we
whole
didn't have
new
as a
can of
sandwich
worms.
because it's not a sandwich.
It depends what
And
the
then
definition of the sandwich
the
is. I
ice
guess.
cream sandwich, I think it was like it's biscuits. It's not bread or something. It's a cookie. So no.
I think using a carbohydrate to protect your hands from whatever's in between the carbohydrates makes it a sandwich. Or at least I think that's what the Earl would say.
we're past the sandwich draft. We don't need to relive this one.
Yeah.
We
We
have
don't
to
need to
think of the
rehash
next draft, which may be the reasons I'm hated.
I wonder if you just go broad and go fast food items or something like that.
We did do a strip mall draft, so I
Yes.
think we could do that, Jay.
I mean,
won that
you'd
one,
have to be
which-
specific. Like
Yeah.
you can't just say a cheeseburger. You have to say which.
Well, and then
Fast
this is
food
where the drafts get
variety.
a little interesting too, because it's like, okay, if you take a cheeseburger from, McDonald's, can you take a cheeseburger from
Dairy Queen?
Burger King? Or
Yes,
something?
you can.
So like, and that's or is cheeseburger
'Cause they're
just
not
off-
even close.
or is cheeseburger just off the board type thing? And it's
Absolutely
those
not.
questions like,
I
well,
don't
because we
think
did that
you-
with video games, where it was if you took a game for a system, is that game off or is it? Like, and that's where the draft gets a little
Yeah.
and I have to make the call, and then I get hated, and it's wonderful.
That's why you have to be specific with your choices because there's no comparison of a McDonald's cheeseburger to, say, a Dairy Queen cheeseburger. Like it's just Dairy Queen's is better. It's charbroiled. It's got
Well, it
more of a
was,
cheeseburger
but they
taste.
don't have sesame seeds anymore on their burgers.
Oh, well.
it's a big
You had to
drawback.
remind me of
and
that.
W
Yeah.
still has the sesame
Yeah, I
seeds
know.
on
See,
theirs.
so
What
Love A&W.
was the best post sporting event or game meal you guys had as a kid? Because for me, it always had to be McDonald's.
See, I feel like this is the same debate that comes up with psychedelics. It's set and setting, man. Like, it's so dependent upon set and setting.
Like
right?
psychedelics.
Like you
Here
can
we go.
You can have a good trip or you can have a really bad trip, and it's the same thing with fast food. You can have a great meal or you can have a meal that you regret for the next 3 days.
So what are we microdosing mushrooms here?
Yeah,
Or are
exactly.
we just
I
hitting
think-
like a
I
50
think-
milligram?
Not
I ju-
mushroom?
I'm
microdosing
just
them. You're
saying-
going full out
I'm
with
just
the
saying
mushrooms.
that set and setting is really important to your fast food experience.
Swiss Chalet is my answer.
Like if you're on day
Chalet
2
sauce.
of
I never
worst
liked Swiss Chalet.
road
It's-
trip ever,
yeah,
and you
it's-
pull into any fast food joint, you're gonna be like, "This is the worst meal I've ever had."
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Swiss Chalet is love or hate. People, it's very divisive. It's like cilantro. You either love it or you hate it. There's no in between on it because it's the
Yeah.
Swiss Chalet sauce.
I learned to forgive my wife about Swiss Chalet sauce. So
Like,
I
my
think- I
wife
think
is
anyone
pro
can-
I love
or-
it.
Oh, she's pro.
Oh, and you're not.
I think
Okay.
she's out of her mind.
Yeah.
But,
You also think
I've learned to
everyone's out
forgive,
of their mind.
because a lot of people are out of their mind.
You can order if you
It's
do
just
Swiss
an
Chalet
observation.
as like a takeout.
Yeah.
You can order like a quart, like an ice
Yeah,
cream tub
of just the special
Chalet
the
sauce.
sauce.
That doesn't
yeah.
sound healthy.
You can
It's
actually
probably
buy
not.
it like just packaged form in the grocery store.
I didn't eat it all, Tom.
You think he gets calves like that by eating all of that?
Jeez,
No, he
I
eats
mean,
his
I
vitamins
shared
too.
it. I packaged it and froze them into single servings.
Very responsible, right?
Right, that's
Yeah.
smart.
Respect the hell out of that.
Intake.
It's a lot easier to use later. Like, you just
Absolutely.
heat it up and you're good to go.
Ice cube tray.
Oh, that's thinking.
Now you're really thinking I did
Working
that.
smart, not harder.
Rusty Shackleford chimes in via the inbox, says, I mentioned it earlier, but what about dressing room pump-up song draft? We talked about that a little bit yesterday, didn't we?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That could be a good one.
I think so.
Like, you have to create the
playlist.
pump up playlist.
Yeah.
I am amazed at
That's not
how
bad.
dated they still are.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you walk into like the nephews or whatever, and like it's still like
Jukebox Hero by
Highway
Foreigner?
Demon.
yeah,
saying
yeah,
that.
or
Yep.
Highway to Hell, and you're just
Yeah.
kind of
We
like,
we were in a tournament, my daughter's soccer tournament in Revelstoke just last weekend. That's why I couldn't come in until today.
Yeah.
It was great. They took home the bronze. This is U13 girls.
yeah,
They were listening to like old school Rihanna and like
Rihanna.
Jay-Z.
yeah.
And my wife, they had it on like a Bluetooth speaker, and my wife was just looking at me like, "This is awesome.
Yeah.
like-
This is our jam."
I was gonna say, man, 99 Problems is still just a straight up banger.
It is
Like to get
It's
ready
great.
for a game or something.
But it's funny
like
that like I thought they'd be listening to like Travis Scott and all this,
Yeah,
new
yeah.
Newer
age
stuff.
and no, it was old bangers.
I think it's also because like newer music is getting progressively worse, right? And like they've done the studies about like just how it's really homogenized now. Like you turn on any of the top 5 songs and they're all going to sound the same. I think that's part of what makes even our kids go further back is they're desperate to hear something different than what they're hearing.
To get you
currently.
pumped up.
Yeah,
To
you
get
know,
you going.
You know, every like end of May, beginning of June, you're getting some generic Lizzo song that's
Right.
going to skyrocket to the top.
Right.
And you're like,
and it's
oh,
going to
which,
sound a lot like the
Yeah.
last Lizzo. Like
what
it
Lizzo?
kinda-
track is this one? Is it from 2021, 2022, 2023?
Isn't
Whatever.
Lizzo getting canceled right now?
Yes.
Because of her dancers?
Because she's bullied the dancers
Oh, man.
and stuff like that. She's getting
That's
and
not
like
good.
this is like the person everyone's like they were hyping her up and she was the great. She's a
And
lovely
wasn't she
person.
like fat shaming them? Weren't they on like strict diets?
I don't know.
And then
if
I
it
heard
was
about the
her
thing
or
in the
Yeah.
bar in Netherlands or whatever. or
there's a
the
lot
red
that has
light
happened. Yeah, no,
district.
she actually when we were speaking about Super Bowl halftime shows, I think the NFL
Well, that's the girl.
they took her
That's
off the
who
list.
Yes, that's who I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
She got
there was a
crossed
list
off.
that they're trying to
That's
create,
right.
and she got crossed off because of all that was happening with that.
Which was kind of a weird look for her because not a good look because she was such an empowerment kind of
Inclusivity
female.
and
and
People would
inclusivity.
body shame her, and everyone would be like, "No, lovely, like she looks great, all of that," and then she's doing that. What was happening to her
Not a
to
good
others,
look.
and it's like, well, what are you doing there?
Yeah. I mean that's a tough one. Pump up songs though, I think that would be a great one.
I think that's actually really
I think
solid.
that would be a good one.
A couple people
You'll
in
have
the
straight up fist fights over that.
YouTube chat.
And that's what we want.
Kickstart My Heart, Welcome to the Jungle, Rob Zombie, Numb.
Danger Zone.
Those are coming in. Also, someone saying an EST acid trip in the ravine. Let's go. That coming from
By the
Blazing
way,
Death
if
420.
If it's Rob Zombie, it has to be
Regular.
more human than human, right? Like,
Oh, that's a good
That's a
one.
good one
that's
too.
the
Yeah.
basic one.
Fuel, Metallica,
Yeah.
Du Hast.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
this
that's
is
gonna
great.
get you going.
That's gonna,
The
Burn
new one.
Sandstorm's
I mean,
gonna
it
get you
depends.
going.
Are we talking pregame? Or are we talking halftime after the coach speaks, or after a victory?
think
No
pregame,
music at
Unless-
halftime.
What if you?
Well,
what if you
pregame
did
and
that?
postgame
You could
are
do-
completely
What if you had to
different
identify?
vibes.
Yeah, you wanna
five
celebrate
songs
post-game.
of each. You have to do 5 songs for your pregame, 5 songs for intermission, halftime, 5 songs for postgame.
Now we're
victory.
talking.
I'm just gonna go on the record, and I think you have too many rounds.
Why?
Five,
it goes too
5,
quick.
5.
It goes too quick.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you do 5
if you
rounds with 4
properly-
people, we're done in 20 minutes. And it's like, well, what did we just
Well,
do
no,
here?
then you have to properly elaborate on why this song was chosen and what it means to
You
you.
still have time. With 4 people?
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
all right.
see, here's the thing. You got to come and experience one and then judge.
I said it earlier.
Stressful.
Invite me. You have my phone
It's-
number. You can get a hold of me.
I thought that was Dusty Wong. I was going to yell at him and be like, yeah, you're
I
coming
mean, you
on.
just text me about my calves again.
Yeah, well,
so you have my number.
I know.
I'll go shortless.
I'm gonna text
for
you with the
draft.
Cavs
I'll
later
go,
tonight
I'll go,
too as
I'll go
well.
shorts. I said shortless. I'll go shorts.
Well, no, well, I do like that one, actually.
That's a really good one.
That's a strong one.
be-
Now, but it has to pass the test because even though I'm commissioner, it really has to. Dustin and Eric have to pass it.
How
And
many
so-
seconds of audio can you play?
Of actual songs?
Because it would be cool if you could dub in the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is the
like
rules on
3
fair
seconds.
use?
Really, it's none.
Yeah.
But like I know Barstool, they have this like trivia contest thing that they do, and one of the questions they usually go to is name this song, and they play 3 seconds at most now because if they go past, they get in trouble.
There's copyright
So it's about
laws.
3 seconds.
Well,
is
and that would be
maybe-
enough.
They get the monetization captured by the artist.
Yeah, and then there's issue, and like because you'd have to then pay for the licensing and all of that stuff. So
I mean, that'd be a lot more work for you.
well, the thing
to dub it
we
in.
did once, we did the mixtape. And
yeah.
what we did was I just created a playlist on Spotify. They're still active, actually, all 4 of them that you could go find and listen to those playlists. But you could just create a Spotify playlist and go.
Did
listen
you
to
ever
this.
create a mixtape for a girl, or a mixed CD?
I've created mixed CDs.
Or a
before,
guy.
so
You don't have to
all
gender
over.
it.
Guy,
But-
girl,
Yeah.
correct.
Like I have never created a mixed CD because I was big in my day, but I loved sending music to girls I was seeing.
How'd
And,
you
like,
send
hey,
it? Like,
here's
the
Spotify.
MP3 or? Oh, so this is more recent.
Yeah, but
Because I was
love
thinking like
that.
high school and stuff. Because I was trying to think how you'd send it in the early.
I never
2000s
did it
stuff.
in high
No.
school.
Was not an option.
No, I know that.
You know,
like it was
yeah.
the,
I
the
mean, it was
mixtape
like-
thing with the cassettes. Like you literally had to record and stop on the radio.
Those were the days. Yeah.
And then CDs was all, you just make sure you didn't pirate the wrong song that cut off halfway through or something.
Yeah, or looped,
Yeah.
or had that scratchy sound in it. But-
Nowadays you just send the Spotify link.
Yeah,
that's very
well,
easy.
Actually, I did create a couple of playlists for a couple of girls.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I did do that. I am that
Would
guy.
you send me those lists?
Would you like them?
Oh man, I think they'd be dreamy.
All right,
I'd be interested to hear them.
Yeah.
I want to know at what level of
they're deep.
you could probably tell by your mixtape as to what level or where you wanted this relationship to go.
Yeah, no. When you get to that point in my mind, and when I did it, it
It's
was
10
like
different versions of I Want to Sex You Up.
no, it's beyond. There's more.
Here's a
no
question.
more to it than that.
How much thought did you put into it?
A lot.
Like, did you think about the opening song and
Yep.
like how important that
Build
was?
it up. You take the crescendos, and then by the 25th song, it's
25.
25 songs.
Yeah. I've got one that
25
for one
song
girl that was
Tom.
like 35.
Wow.
And then by the
Wow.
end, it's like the rock you to sleep kind of music and
Wow. So you
deep
were
thought about this. Yeah.
Like a 35 song playlist.
Yeah.
That's gonna take a while to
What
listen to.
one girl I was seeing was like, I want something I can run and work out to, and I was like, I can do that for you.
35
very
that's a good number
thoughtful.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a Will Fraser run. 35
Actually,
songs.
I've got probably a solid 3-hour playlist for my running.
Music, podcasts, or books?
It is usually music.
Yeah.
I find I at least need it to keep my pace right.
Mm-hmm.
But I have run to podcasts. It just makes me angry usually, so I try not to do that. And and books is.
I struggle with the ebook
Yeah.
because I find that I'll just tune away,
Right.
and then it's like,
sometimes it'll cause your mind to wander.
yeah, and then it's just like, well, I just missed like 3 paragraphs. And then I got to rewind to the right
That's
spot.
the worst
and it's a
feeling in
lot
the world.
easier with a book, at least. Like, okay, I know where I kind of zoned out, and boop, I'm right back there. It's like, okay, well, where am I going?
1.5 pages through, and you realize I did not
Yeah.
consume any of that. My mind was elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's weird that your brain can do that for one, and it's awful because now you have to go back and reread it or relive.
Well, it kind of tells you just how little control you actually have over your own decision making and all of that. Like those moments where you're just kind of like, I do it when I'm driving all the time, where all of a sudden
100%.
I'll just be like, I haven't
Holy
paid
smokes,
attention to
I'm
the
in
road
Red
for
Deer.
12 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, how did I not drive off the road?
How did this
How
happen?
did I get into Red Deer all of a sudden?
Who has been driving for the last 12 minutes? Because it wasn't
Oh
me.
yeah, and that has happened.
Text comes in and says Prodigy Firestarter.
Great one.
Great pump up song.
Cotton
That can
Eye
be-
Joe is coming.
That can be almost too
Cotton Eye
much.
Joe.
That's coming a couple times.
Yeah,
Cotton Eye Joe is a pump up song.
Yeah.
What are you
think
getting
so.
pumped up to do?
Was that my
Oh,
buddy Brett Nakanichny? Because that was a song
No,
that
Christopher
he
had
absolutely
that
loved.
one.
Oh, okay.
Nicely done. Do you? Somebody also said, did you know Cotton Eye Joe was a song about an STD STI? It's the old cotton swab from Strummy. Don't know if that's true or
Strummy
not,
would
but
know
we're
that.
gonna just throw that out there because that's what we do online now. We just throw things without being verified. I learned that from Barstool.
Oh, and here
No,
we bring
you
it
have
all
a
back.
name to go along
that's,
with
yeah,
that.
no, that's true.
You're
I have
you're
sources.
actually one
I
step
have sources.
up.
I'm said the name. Yeah, I didn't go unnamed sources said this. Strummy said this, so I could go with that. one.
Bumblebee Tuna, Strummy. Bumblebee Tuna.
Bush had a song. What was it?
Bush or Bush
Machine
X?
Head.
Machine
Head,
That
that
was
was
a
a
big
good
one. That
one,
was a
yeah.
big one. That was a
played
band.
Bush
on
X
repeat
in
so much
Canada.
when I was
Yeah.
Because of a
Right,
band named
Bush
Bush,
X.
evidently.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wildcats.
Yeah.
What's going on?
75th year.
Really?
Can you believe that?
That's incredible.
I just heard that.
Sorry, guys.
Been out of broadcasting for.
Who
just
is it?
forgot all the fundamentals of it.
Sorry.
Anyway, Jay, continue.
My watch tells
Something
me
about
to
your
go.
Cavs
Oh,
and
God.
Wildcats.
Wildcats have been around for 75 years. So, off to a little bit of a tough start with our season, but we there was a lot of things that happened in the off season. We made changes to our staff. A fellow that was there for a long time and is still close to the organization was Darcy Park. He'd been there for 24 years.
No way.
Yeah, and just mutually wanted to move on and try something different. And so we're coached by a fellow named Kevin Cash Woodrich. Cash is his nickname, but great guy, young guy, committed to the team, committed to obviously getting this thing turned around. And we have a lot of support in him and where the direction he's taking the team. But yeah, 75 years.
That's incredible.
That's incredible. And actually this year we're celebrating, it's our 40-year anniversary of our 1983 championship team. Yeah, they won the whole thing. So we've been organizing that. The celebration is going to happen at our last home game against the Calgary Colts.
Nice.
So it's going to be fun. And it's cool being, I love being around football. It's nice to be down there. I mean, I'm usually down at the field a couple times a week, 3 times a week, and just being around the locker room and being around the guys and the coaching staff. Great coaching staff. It's good. It's fun, and things are changing. Things are going to move in the right way. Things don't change overnight, especially with junior football.
Well, like the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears
Taking a
took
while.
a long time. I mean, when I was there, it was their last successful years before they started turning it around now. So I mean, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So things take time, but we got the right leadership in place. So happy about that.
Next home game, and where do you guys play?
Next home game, we play out of Emerald Hills Park in Sherwood Park. It's a beautiful facility. right off the Yellowhead. We actually take on the Saskatoon Hilltops this Sunday at 1 p.m.
There you go.
Yeah,
Watch some local football.
Saskatoon's as per usual,
I was
a
gonna say,
juggernaut.
That's
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough game, but that's part of it. You got to, if, like Chris did with the Bears, if you want to compete, you have to compete against the best. I think Saskatoon's ranked 1 or 2 in the nation.
Yeah.
So it'll be a challenge.
That's what Saskatchewan does. They just produce.
Yeah.
Football players.
Wheaton football players.
Yeah.
Like Novocaine. Give it some time. It'll work.
Phrase, when do you move into the studio/offices? Where do you want your bed? Matthew,
pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you and Joaquin will have to fight for space, but that's okay.
I would never fight with him. I will share.
Like
I will
stepbrothers.
always share with him. Yeah, exactly. Bunk beds with Joaquin.
I can get bunk beds.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
You know a guy.
I know a guy.
Yeah.
I like they do. Like we could maybe. I don't know if that far room could fit 2 bunk beds. It might be
It
able to. If
could.
we get rid of that table, we could maybe put like.
It
2
Well,
definitely-
if
sets
you
of bunk
design
beds.
built-ins, anything's possible.
Right?
Oh, okay.
You can fold
Like
them
my
down.
office is out
Yeah.
of question though. Like straight up, no. That's
You got a
my
couch
office.
in there.
Yeah, but that's for me to
Hey.
sleep.
Yeah.
As soon as we got that couch set up last week, he's like, "This will be a great spot if I need to sleep here."
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised I haven't slept here yet. I'm surprised none of us have slept here yet.
It'll happen.
Quite frankly.
It'll
So-
happen.
Oh, it's going. I'm just
Very
like we
comfortable.
pulled some late ones, and I'm just surprised none of us no one went. I'm gonna pull the night here, so
It'll happen.
it's coming.
Yeah.
But I got beautiful couches now to sleep.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Speaking of fighting, that Dustin didn't, go toe to toe with Mahjong yesterday. I thought that was going to happen. I was really excited.
Two
to see
big
it.
boys.
The fact that they
Two
just
big
hugged.
dudes.
That's
Yeah.
just-
Godzilla versus
like,
Kong right,
Right?
there, man.
Yeah.
We should just set up like a ring, move the couch, put down a line of painter's
Wow.
tape.
If we get rid of that boardroom
First guy
table
out
there,
loses.
we can make that like little fight club room.
I'd put my ring in. I'd put my name in the hat.
Yeah.
Just I think that
Rope
would
on
work.
shoulders, yeah.
I'll be the ref.
Let's go.
I'll be
Just
the ref.
Yeah.
you're just desperate to feel something. Anything.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah.
He's got to put his calves to work somehow.
Yeah, these things don't work themselves, boys.
Couple texts to wrap up.
Absolutely.
It's been another fun show. This is the beauty of the EST Hangout. We can go anywhere in a million different topics, and they all intertwine, or we get bookended like we're going to bookend this show today. We'll start with Greasy Jim, who texted and said, first-time listener here, psychedelics, sandwiches, and Cotton Eye Joe? Sounds like a perfect Saturday night. Great show. Thank you, Greasy Jim.
It
Appreciate
really
it.
does.
That does
It really does.
And then a text goes in, says, Mike Babcock soon asks not for your phone/picks anymore, but for your playlists.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Well done. Well done.
Imagine
That's a
Babcock on
dedicated
a
listener.
psychedelic. Where does
Imagine
that go?
Mike Babcock having an opinion on your playlist.
What if he's always been on a psychedelic and you just
He's
don't
been
know it?
microdosing this whole
His whole time, and if he was
Ahead of the game.
off, maybe he'd be great,
Mind blown.
right?
Yeah.
That's what
I
we're here to
actually
do.
think he probably could benefit from. Like
Doing some of that?
Yeah.
A couple gummies,
Yeah.
low
yeah,
dose.
Yeah.
We'll do a bunch of things. Yeah. One, the Blue Jackets are in town. Just go give him a chat. Give him a talking to.
Get you the media pass back.
Yeah.
You can go chat with him.
Former U of S head coach.
Exactly. I would like to talk to some of those guys.
Hey.
Yeah.
Didn't last long.
No.
And I think he was a Red Deer Kings coach too. I think he coached AC.
Been a-
Yeah,
he's
Red
been a
Deer
lot of
College,
places.
right?
Yeah.
That was before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, U of S. He was supposed to do 2 years, only did 1, and then bolted. And then it's Mike Babcock. It is what it is.
They do pay him like $6 million. Like, I don't think he was making that at the U of S.
Well, but before he got the job.
Right.
Like last season, he just quit. Like he was supposed to do 2 years.
Yeah.
And then he quit, and then he didn't have a job. And he just left them. And it was like right before the season started, too, I think.
Yep.
That he walked away and stuff. Jay, Will, it's great having you guys on. Hopefully we'll have you
pleasure.
guys
Thank
on
you.
again soon.
Yeah.
Draft day.
Well, we could do both, hopefully.
Well,
or
I don't know.
Are you just like
I'm gonna have to talk to my agent, my wife.
Will Fraser, Jamie Milne, and Tom Gazzola, Mattawanna. Thanks for tuning into the EST Hangout. Tomorrow on the show, Joaquin Gage and Lucas Holt from Whale and the Wolf, who have their new album dropping tonight to show at the Starlight Room on Friday. One day, Jay will be opening up. What was the band again?
Well,
Wolf and the Whale.
we'll rebrand it.
Okay,
North Shore.
yeah. North Shore opening up for
Wolf and the Whale.
Wolf and the Whale will be opening up for Whale
Minnow
and the
and the
Wolf.
Guppy. Minnow and
That's
the
coming
Guppy.
up on the Hangout tomorrow. Coming up next, 11 o'clock, it is the Lock Shop with Dustin Nilsson and Andrew Hustler. And at noon, Tommy's back with Dusty for the Oil Stream. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat with you tomorrow.
The Oil Stream.
Last summer on the Oil Stream, you and I discussed the possibility of Gagne coming back here on a PTO. He signed with Winnipeg and got an actual contract.
Anytime you can have Sam Gagne involved in your organization in any way,
Yeah.
It's a major positive for you.
They love him.
The Oil Stream with Nielsen and Gazzola. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.